welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show.
Back in your life on this Monday, October 21st, 2019. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. Welcome back to the program. It's good to have you here on this lovely fall afternoon in Bristol, Connecticut. We got a lot to discuss, a lot happening, as always, in the world of MMA, a lot of questions that need to be answered coming off this weekend. Number one, Dominic Reyes, Chris Weidman. What a win for Dominic Reyes. He defeats Chris Weidman in the first round. Chris Weidman's move up to 205, unfortunately for him, did not go well. And it's kind of crazy. A day after I spoke to Luke Rockhold, and he told me that it was, quote, very possible that he would never fight again. Weidman gets knocked out in the first round, and you can't help but wonder what happened to these two individuals and how different life was 4 years ago when they were fighting for the middleweight title. 4 years ago, December of 2015, they were the two best middleweights in the world, and it seemed like they were going to be on a collision course for a very long time. Like, they weren't just going to fight once. You recall, they ended up getting booked to fight again at UFC 199, and that didn't come to fruition. And then again at MSG last year, and that didn't come to fruition. These two guys were the best. And of course, Luke Rockhold won that fight, and Weidman lost, and that was kind of the beginning of a bit of a tailspin for him. And Rockhold loses to Bisping, and that was kind of the beginning of a tailspin for him. And they both moved up this year to 205. They both got knocked out somewhat brutally, and now it seems like both their futures are somewhat in doubt. Rockhold seems a lot more, a lot more closer to not fighting again. Weidman certainly did not allude to that in the cage, only spoke in the cage. But it seems like he may need to take a bit of a break and maybe need to reassess his spot as far as where he's fighting. Maybe 185 is better for him. But you'll recall I said I did not like this matchup, and I know that I say this each and every time. I did not like this matchup because I thought there was no need for Chris Weidman to fight Dominic Reyes in his first fight at 205, especially coming off that layoff, the neck surgery, and a recent knockout against Jacare Souza. To me, an opponent like Glover Teixeira would have made a lot more sense. An older opponent, a Shogun Rua, a guy with a name, maybe closer to his age, and not a young gun who's just trying to knock him off en route to John Jones. But, that's the way the UFC books their fights, and that's the way they will continue to book their fights. So now it seems like Dominic Reyes is in the driver's seat for John Jones. Well, does John Jones want that fight? He seems to be talking a little bit on Twitter about, being interested in it, but also maybe going up to heavyweight. He's testing the waters, so to speak, as far as what the people are interested in. Of course, we have Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker on deck in November, and we've got DC Stipe hopefully fighting at some point next year. There's even a Francis Ngannou out there, so there's a lot of options for John Jones. Put that one on the poll, Mr. Corporate Jake over there, if you're still with us. Put it on the poll. Who should John Jones fight next? Should it be Dominic Reyes, winner of Corey Anderson versus Johnny Walker, winner of DC Stipe at heavyweight, or let's throw out the wild card Francis Ngannou, and then we'll check back in later in the program. Of course, there was the Greg Hardy situation. I'm still confused about this. My early take, and I'm going to talk about it in the fourth hour when we do a little news and notes segment for all of you, but my take right now on this Monday afternoon, I think Massachusetts may have jumped the gun on this one. Nowhere in their rules does it state you can't do what Greg Hardy did. Now, there was a lot of fumbles of the ball leading up to that point, but I actually think they jumped the gun by overturning it so soon. Somewhat unprecedented to do that quickly, to overturn something literally a couple hours after the fight. It was weird. I mean, Mark Ratner is on TV saying it's illegal. The broadcaster's saying it's illegal. But where does it say what he did was illegal? And I know this guy is not a sympathetic figure. I know that, the baggage is just 2 tons in terms of weight. But I really do think they jumped the gun. That's my assessment right now, but I'll weigh in more on that later on. It was a entertaining card overall. We had the Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens fight, which was great. Finally, we saw that come to fruition. Maycee Barber with a phenomenal performance. Joe Lauzon with a phenomenal performance. Charles Rosa with a big win, although I think that he may have grabbed onto the cage there. But hey, it's like the great Eddie Guerrero once said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Not to suggest that he did that on purpose, but it did seem like he was using the cage. They didn't see it, so it's hard to overturn that. Molly McCann, Randy Costa, Sean Brady, Brendan Allen. Overall, a pretty good night for Boston area fighters. So that was Friday. We had the PFL playoffs. We got a big weekend coming up with the UFC back in Singapore on Saturday, their 499th event, headlined by Damian Maia versus Ben Askren. There's a lot going on, as always. I'll talk about Conor McGregor later in the program as well, so we got a lot going on. I'll share some news for all of you, talk about a big show we have planned for you next week. There's a lot happening, so stick with us here, and we're going to have fun for the next 3.5 or so hours. Let me tell you about today's lineup, and then we'll get to our first guest of the day. 3:40 p.m. we'll be joined by Molly McCann. Meatball Molly had a nice win on Friday. She's on a bit of a streak these days. 3-1 now in the UFC. Always fun to talk to her, and I also have a bone to pick with her. So we'll get to that when we speak to her at 3:40. Dominick Reyes will join us at 3:20. We'll talk to him about the big win over Weidman. Will he get John Jones next? What does he have to do? He's undefeated, 12-0 in the UFC, 6-0 in the UFC, 12-0 as a pro, and has looked very good, in my opinion. Stoppage wins, 9, all of them in the first round. We'll also be joined by Triple H and Tyson Fury at the same time. There they are. Tyson Fury making his pro wrestling debut on October 31st, Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. We'll talk to them about how this deal got done, a little Cain Velasquez talk as well. So that should be fun. Stay tuned for that. Dillon Danis made news last week, helping out a youngster who was bullied in his school, getting him some martial arts classes. I know he's a polarizing figure, but a good thing that Dillon Danis did. A mensch-like thing, if you will. We'll talk to him about that at 2:40. A lot of you gave me crap for not having Niko Price on the program last week after his big win over James Vick. Well, I've righted that wrong, and he'll be joining us at 2:20. So stay tuned for that. Coming off a big win in Tampa. And Maycee Barber, the aforementioned Maycee Barber, will join us in studio in about 20 minutes' time. Talk about her rise to prominence. But first, let's say hello to our first guest of the day. This man made his return to the UFC. His first fight in 559 days. Was victorious on Friday in his home state of Massachusetts. He's one of the legends of the sport. 13 UFC finishes. That's the most in lightweight history. 15 wins is the fourth most in UFC lightweight history. 15 bonuses is tied for second most bonuses in UFC history with Nate Diaz. And it was his second win at the TD Garden. There he is, the one and only Joe Lauzon, kind enough to join us. Joe, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going really well. Congratulations on the win. What is it about you fighting at TD? Like, it seems like I'm reminded of like the Super Mario Brothers video game. I know you're a gamer. My knowledge of video games doesn't extend much past that, but it's like you got the mushroom and you power up and you're just like in total beast mode. What's going on? Like, what are you feeling when you're fighting out there?
Just feeding off the crowd. You know, everything was smooth. The bigger thing was, camp went smooth. We had a really long camp, but everything was great. It was awesome to fight in Boston, fight at home.
When you say you had a really long camp, like I mentioned the 559 days, I'm assuming the camp wasn't that long, right? Like, how long was this camp?
It was close. I don't know. So my last fight was April last year. I'd say like November we started like really picking it up, and like at least since January 1st, like we've been crushing it all year.
Why were you out for so long?
So I've been doing this for so long, so it takes time to make changes. Like, it's not as simple as like, oh, I've done this 3 times, so I can reprogram it pretty easily. Like, it takes a long time. So we added additional striking coach, started doing a new strength conditioning program, going to Skill of Strength with Mike Perry, doing a whole bunch of stuff there. It takes time. It doesn't happen fast. Like, you can't. I've been doing it so long. It takes a long time to break old habits. So I needed the time.
And to be clear, this isn't Platinum Mike Perry, right? That you're talking
Different
about?
Mike Perry. It's confusing.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this is not Platinum Mike Perry. This is Coach Mike Perry.
Okay, so obviously you felt like you need to make changes after losing 3 straight. Was there ever a point where you thought you were done?
Going into the last one that I lost, we felt like we'd done everything right. We'd made some good changes at that point. And I was so confident I was going to win. We'd said it, over and over, like, hey, if we don't win this one, we're probably done. This is the end of the line. And then I lost that one. I'm like, ugh, I don't really think I'm done. I think we need to, be a little bit more. We need some more exaggerated changes. So that's what we did. It took time. We took some time off. Gave me a good time to kind of clear my head, heal up a bunch of, stupid, nagging, annoying injuries that I had, and we got after it.
You're a very loyal guy. You strike me as a very loyal guy. You have a lot of the same people that have been around you for a long time. Is it hard to bring in new people because you've been with those same figures for so long? Do you feel like, is it an awkward conversation when you're trying to introduce new characters to the team?
No, I mean, because it wasn't like anyone got pushed out.
Okay.
It was just adding people in. So for the longest time I've had Steve Mays as my striking coach, which he's a boxing coach. He's my boxing coach. That's why you don't see much kicking out of knees or elbows, things like that. So I still work with Steve Mays on the boxing and all the hand stuff, but we got an additional coach working on some more, kick defense and and elbows and knees and all that kind of stuff. And just an extra person. Like Steve Mace can tell me so many, every way he can think of to keep my hands up. But if I'm not keeping my hands up, he needs someone else to kind of slap me around and get me to get my hands up. So it just an additional. It wasn't like it was a replacement.
Was part of the delay because this card was in Boston? In other words, like if this card would have been in August, you would have returned in August?
That was part of it. So like November, I knew I wanted to fight. I talked to Dana and Sean Shelby in like end of December, mid-December. And I told them I wanted to fight, and they were both kind of dragging their feet. And then, I was thinking like March or April, and that didn't happen. And then it was like, oh, maybe June, July, and that didn't happen. And then they announced the Boston card. So then it made sense to wait for, October. But it delayed it a little bit, but it was going to happen regardless.
Did you get the sense that they were trying to build Jonathan Pierce off of you? I noticed you said in the pre-fight, like, I'm not going to let this guy, get a W off of me, especially in my hometown, essentially. Like, did you feel like you've reached the point where maybe you're going to be used as a stepping stone and you're not really quite comfortable with that role just yet?
That's how every fight is ever going to be. Like when I beat Pulver the first time, like they weren't expecting me to beat Pulver, but I beat him, so I used him as a stepping stone that time. Like every single fight you're ever going to see, that's what this sport is. Everyone's always a stepping stone. Like everyone's always trying to build. Any highlight you ever see is someone else getting kicked in the face or submitted or dumped on the head or something like that. Like that's just the sport we have. Every fight is like that.
So it was amazing to see you fight in Boston again, because you're the only one who was on that card that was also on the first ever Boston card, which feels like a century ago. In fact,
forever ago. Yep.
Yeah, 9 years ago, UFC 118. And the performance was like almost a mirror image, you against Gabe Rudiger. Like that performance on Friday, it felt like the same thing where you were just like throwing him around and just super strength, all that stuff. Were you getting flashbacks of that time 9 years ago as well when you were in there?
No, a little different. So it was dominant both ways. But with Gabe, it was like I was throwing him around on the ground and all over. This was, I felt like, was started with the stand-up stuff. I felt like my hands were a lot better. I landed some good punches. I felt like I kept good composure the entire time. Like I felt really good. Like I felt like I was in control every second of the entire fight.
So that photo right over there, like when you have his arm trapped like that, was it possible? Yep. Like, were you feeling that he might just tap from that?
He could have tapped for that, but that wasn't what I was looking for. Everyone in the UFC is tough. Like I didn't expect him to tap to that. He could have. I'm sure his shoulder's really sore. But it was more so about the control. If he can't get his elbow out, he can't get to his knees. He can't turn. He can't get away. He was stuck. He was dead in the water. Was
that something you specifically worked on for this fight, to try to trap his arm like that? It was very impressive to watch, and especially to see how long you were able to keep it for. And also on his part, the fact that he didn't tap, because I feel like I would have tapped like 2 seconds into that.
I probably would have tapped. My shoulders are not flexible. I probably would have tapped there. I mean, so that position was not something worked on, but the takedown was something worked on. Like I love to clinch up with people and take people down with different trips and throws. And so the throw I hit him with, the trip I hit him with, was something we worked on a lot. A lot of people missed it too, but I hit the body lock, and like once it was like confirmed he was going down, I kind of jumped up and tried to spike my shoulder in his face a little bit. Most people didn't pick up on that. But that's something we've been working on.
So that was your 15th win as a UFC lightweight, and I know that like it's kind of common for you to win. I mean, you've done this long enough, but your first win in almost 3 years. What does it feel like on the Monday to get that feeling back after the losing streak? Like, do you feel like you appreciate this feeling a little more now?
I definitely appreciate it a little bit more now. I mean, it's been so long. I was super emotional. Like, so we had, Randy Costa has been talking about it a lot. But we had one of our really good friends, Devin Carrier, die a couple of years ago, and he was like one of our main training partners. Like he was one of our guys. He would have been on that card with us if he was still around. Like he's just like super hardworking kid. So there was a lot of stuff going on, and like just because it was in the forefront of everything we were doing. Like I was like ready to walk out, and I'm like on the verge of like tears, like waiting to walk out because it had been so long, and we are fighting back in Boston. And I'm thinking about Devin. It's just like it was tough. It was like, and then I win the fight, and the fight goes perfect. And I'm like on the verge of crying the entire time. It's just like it was just a really tough emotionally night.
Yeah, I love that Randy continues to hold up the photo of Devin when he weighs in and after the fact. I think it's an amazing thing. You noted in the post-fight interview that you kind of like, you rag on those guys who cry in the post-fight interview, and you don't want to be one of those guys. What's wrong with crying? I think it's great.
Well, because I think that too many guys, like it's way too often. Guys like, I just trained so hard for this. No one understands. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think it happens way. Like I understand, but it happens all the time. Sometimes. I don't know.
But maybe
I'm a
now
jerk.
you understand. You understand why?
I do understand. Yeah, no, I do. But yeah, I still think it's a bad look. I'm mad at myself for crying a little bit, but I get it. I can't. I guess I'm a hypocrite.
Wait, so was that the first time in your entire career that you ever cried after a fight?
I think my wife's seen me cry like twice ever. I think when my dog died and when my son was born sick. I think that's about it.
That's it.
And then third time when Brett Watson came to my wedding. When Brett Watson came to my wedding, I cried a little bit, but that was it.
Wait a second. Burt Watson came to your wedding and that led you to cry?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was so unexpected. Like I wasn't like, I don't get emotional about things usually. But then, they're doing like the intros. They're calling us in. Bert's on the microphone, and like, I knew all my coaches. They set it up, and I don't know, just unexpected. But it had me crying my eyes out.
Wait, did he do that whole thing like it's time to roll and all that? And you didn't expect it? Is that what happened when you walked out?
Exactly. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this on camera anywhere?
Yeah, we have it somewhere.
Did you ever share it?
I don't know if we shared it. I don't think we shared it. We have it though. I have it.
Okay, and you had no idea he was coming.
I had no idea. Like they sent someone to the airport. I think they sent Jimmy Quinlan to the airport, picked him up, brought him to the wedding. I had no idea.
Wow,
it was awesome. It was pretty cool.
So I have to ask you about the post fight stuff. So Dana White said that you guys had a deal that you would retire with a victory. Is this accurate? Did you have this deal and did you break the deal?
Inaccurate.
Okay.
I'm a man of my word. I don't change anything. Dana said basically the gist is that I told Dana I wanted to fight. He said, we care about you. We don't want you to get hurt. Mays, my boxing coach, does not want you to fight, and which is true. Mays does not want me to fight. And then I kept pushing. And I said, look, I'm going to do all these different things. If I do these things, are you okay with me fighting? They came up with like this big, extensive list of things they wanted me to do, and I did every single thing. So they're like, okay, we'll let you fight. So when I texted Dana, I told Dana, look, give me one more shot. If the fight does not go well, I promise you'll never hear from me about fighting again. And that's what I was. And he said, deal. But to me, but I said, hey, if the fight doesn't go well, I'm 100% done. And he said, deal. So that was the gist of it. But I understand. He in his mind is like, oh, we're gonna do one more for. Lauzon's gonna do one more in Boston. Like, there's no better way to end this. I understand. Like, they're looking out for me. I definitely understand. But I'm just not. I'm not 100% closing the door. Is all I'm saying. Usually, it's like when you have a fight, it's like there's location, opponent, and date. And generally, you have to get two. If you get two of them, you're in a good shape. You take the fight. If I'm going to fight again, it'll have to be all three. It'll have to be perfect. I'll have to really like the opponent. I'll have to really like the location. I'll have to really like the date. But we'll see. Maybe I'm done. I'm okay. I mean, I don't think I can end it better than we just did. So if that's the end, then that's the end, and that's cool, and that's great. If, I'm just not going to commit to it just yet.
Okay, so let's say your career was a football field, and you're going from this side to this side, and this side is the end of the career. This end zone is the end. Where are you right now on that field?
I'm in the red zone.
Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely. I don't think that I don't think I'm going to have 6 more fights. But maybe I'll have 1 or 2. Maybe not. Like I'm not. My gym does well. My gym's in Easton, Massachusetts. Like and all of the best guys around New England, they all come to me. Like we have guys drive like from hours away, 2-3 hours away, come and train with us every Saturday morning. Rob Font, Calvin Cater, Devin Powell. We get people who drive from ever. Come all over the place, and they train us. So my gym's doing well. My gym's doing really, really well. So I didn't need to fight. It's not like it's a money thing. Like it's just I'm super competitive. I was super unhappy. One of the things you always talk about is like you're only as good as your last fight. Like I was super unhappy with my last fight. I'm very happy with my last fight now. So maybe I'm okay with being done. But I'm just not gonna. I hate when people are like, oh, I'm retired, and then they come back 6 months, 8 months, a year later. So I'm just not gonna. I don't want to go and say I'm retired. But I'm likely not fighting again. But we'll see. I'm not ready to 100% be retired just yet.
Did you talk to Dana after the fight? Did he say, yo, where was my retirement announcement?
I texted him and just, I always text Dana after every fight. I always just, thank you for the opportunity. He's like, I was expecting a retirement speech. And I hadn't heard about his comments yet.
Okay.
So I told him, you never make a decision when you're emotional.
Right.
I said I was being so emotional, not making any big decisions. Because until the fight happened, I really didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I didn't know if I was going to, say after the fight that I was done or whatever. Like, I kind of stayed the course on, not, deciding either way. But then I was like, nearly crying my eyes out. So I'm like, I'm definitely not saying anything now. Like, I want to talk about Devin in the post-fight interview, and I just didn't because I just knew I would have been waterworks right away. So we didn't get into it, but I'm sure we'll talk about it again. If I want to fight again, I'm sure I'll have to deal with Dana. So we'll see.
Yeah, they might not just ever offer you a fight again. They're just going to freeze you out now.
They might, but it's okay because I'll harass them and then I'll start photoshopping stuff and post on Instagram and I'll just talk shit. Like it's okay, I'm all right. I know they care about me. I care about them. Like I have a great relationship with everyone at the UFC. Like if I want to fight again, it's not going to be like an overnight decision. We'll see.
Is it awkward? Like you mentioned, your longtime boxing coach Steve Mays doesn't want you to fight. Are there other members of your team who say the same? And is it hard to get them on board when they're saying openly, "We don't want you to keep doing this"?
No, I mean it's their big thing was that if I'm not going to be prepared to fight, then they don't want to see me get hurt. Which and I understand. I'm up over that. I don't want to end up in the ER. I don't want to go to the hospital. Like I don't like that. Like I've had a whole bunch of fight of the nights. I'm not looking for those fights. I'm not trying to end up in the hospital. I want every fight to be like Friday was. Go out there, don't get punched, take a guy down, beat him up, get the stoppage. Like minute and a half. I can do that all the time. And if I could guarantee them that would happen every time, they'd be on board with me fighting anytime I wanted. But just I have had some fights that were kind of wars, but my coaches they were all on the same page. They said if I did certain things, and then they were on board with me fighting again, and I did all those things, so they were all okay with it. Steve Mays has never been so happy to be wrong. They showed a clip of him after the fight where so like the ref stops it and like he just like puts his face down in his shirt, like he's like, oh, I was like he's gonna want it again. I think he wanted me to have like a tougher fight and then win in the end. But when I go out there and I blow this guy out, then now it's like, oh, he's gonna want to do it again, but I'm not there yet either.
What does your wife say?
She is super supportive. Whatever I want to do, she knows. She knows. She sees me training hard. She sees me doing everything I can to prepare. She's on board. She doesn't want to see any more. Any fights like 2 fights ago, right? Faces all beat up and everything like that. But she's like so supportive. She's so good. When my second son when she got pregnant with my second son Jake, she didn't tell me till after the fight. She knew like a week and a half before, and she didn't tell me because she didn't want to distract me. She's just like she's a super wife. She's awesome.
How is your older son doing? Your oldest?
Joey's doing great. He'll be 6 in January. He's still getting hearing aids. He hears, but his hearing is not great from. So he had cancer. They gave him chemotherapy. All the cancer's gone, but it damages hearing a little bit. So he has like some moderate hearing loss, which is kind of a big deal. But he does great. He's a trooper. He's awesome.
Does he go to your fights?
He went to the Grutzenmacher fight 2 fights ago in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But he didn't really understand. Like even like this fight, we watched it like the next day, and he was kind of paying attention, but he's like he doesn't quite get it. When he gets older, I think he will. He goes to. We started like a 3 to 5 year old class that I teach for all of our kids. So we call it Tiny Ninjas, and they're doing jiu-jitsu. So he understands like a lot of the moves and things like that now. So he was like, "Oh, you did this and you did this." Like he requested, and I failed. I didn't do my job, but he requested a takedown and a triangle choke for the fight, which I failed.
I mean, I hope at some point he realizes how good your performance was. I just wanted to ask you about something. 'Cause you're so smart when it comes to this stuff. I mentioned the Randy Costa submission. As an expert, you're the expert. Do you have a problem with that? Like, should that not have counted, him holding onto the cage with his toes like that?
Charles Rosa, you're saying?
Charles Rosa. Why did I say Randy Costa? Yeah, Charles Rosa. Excuse me.
I think it's okay. I think that the rule is that it's not that you can't put your fingers through or your toes through. It's that you cannot grab onto the cage. So I think in that regard, I think it's okay. I also don't think that Charles is 100% in control.
Right.
It's basically a ring out in wrestling. If Manny kind of leaned forward a little bit, push the toes through. I don't think that Rosa was trying to put his toes through to get leverage. I think, and the referee didn't see it, so I don't think it matters. I think regardless of what happened, referee didn't see it. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Good insight there. By the way, I have a tweet here from Callum Earl, who says, you're doing great, but he just wrote to us, Joe needs a new chair. So like you got all these what's going on with this chair?
This is the chair at my gym. I'm at my gym. This is like the kids. They have like, see, there's like whiteboard on the wall. You can't see what they write on the walls. They just destroy everything up here. So
yeah, but I mean the chair is like really beat up. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it is. I have a great chair at my house, but
it looks comfortable. But I mean,
it's pretty comfy.
We're on ESPN here, Joe. Like we expect a little.
You can't see that it's all messed up there, but it's.
Yeah, you should have went on the other side. That's right.
Yeah. All right. I don't care.
It adds character.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that win, man. It was great to see you. And by the way, just want to let you know, I liked seeing the emotion. All right. I think it's great to see a little emotion. So don't beat yourself up too bad about that. Enjoy. I'm just saying, I like a good crying session here and there. I mean, I'm kind of hated for that these days, but hey, that's just me. congrats, enjoy it. And if this is the end, thank you for everything. But I have a feeling you're leaving the door open, which, by the way, I respect as well. A lot of fighters, they retire and then they come back and it's all very confusing. No one's forcing you to say the R word.
I just don't want to do that. I don't want to, have something pop up in 6 months or a year and have to come out and, whatever. So I'm just leave the door open. We'll see what happens. If, it'd have to be, everything will have to line up for me to do it again, but we'll see.
All right. Thanks for doing this, Joe. All the best to you. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, there he is, Joe Lauzon. Big win for him. And yes, at the top I said Randy Costa. I meant to say Charles Rosa with that submission, but there you have it from the expert himself, and I'll take his word for it. So that was a great performance. There were a ton of great performances. Let's say hello to another person who had a great performance. Maycee Barber is here. How great is this? Hello, Maycee. How are you?
Good, how are you?
We like to just have people walk in. We don't take commercial breaks on this show. You probably know that already. You could bring the microphone right over there to you. Oh, it's okay. We have those things. Thanks for coming, Maycee.
My fixture.
Thank you. That's my Cain Velasquez toy.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you here. Welcome to Bristol, Connecticut, ESPN.
This is neat.
First time?
Yes, this is my first time. We actually drove here from Boston.
What do you think?
It's beautiful here. I mean, the trees and the leaves, they're all changing. So I think it's a great time to come out.
It's like a sports wonderland. You see how big this campus is?
Oh my gosh, this place is
all the stuff?
huge. It's phenomenal.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you doing this. And in fact, I was nervous about your, I don't root for people to win. I think that's inappropriate. But your dad is a very smart guy, and I enjoy working with him, and he helps me get in contact with you. He reached out to me like a month and a half or 2 months ago, once your fight was announced, said, "Hey, we're going to be in the area. Can Maycee come after the fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure, but don't we have to have the fight for, what if you lose? Things could happen." Complete confidence. Like, you guys booked this, you were in. You knew.
We talked about it, and we were like, well, we're going to be like really close, so might as well go out there, and I don't book a fight planning on losing.
Sure.
So when I book a fight, I plan on winning. So.
And then we saw your gloves afterwards. You wrote 8-0, or someone wrote it. Who wrote that?
I did.
You wrote that.
Yep.
Okay.
I always write kind of something that I started, but I write on my hands and I write on my wraps and my gloves.
Okay. What do you usually write? Or just like whatever your...
It's kind of whatever comes to my mind when I'm sitting there. I don't have it all planned out, but it's usually when I have house wrapping my hands, I start to think of some things, or I just grab a Sharpie from someone and I just start writing on my hands. And I knew that I wanted to put 8-0 and that I'm staying undefeated on one of my hands, but then on the hand that I actually broke, I put a cross on it, and I was like, all right, I gotta put a little extra love into this hand because I want to come out of this fight uninjured. So it worked.
How is it now?
It's great. I mean, it feels great, and I came out of that fight uninjured, so I'm super happy.
Were you nervous about that?
I was. I think that was one of the biggest things I was nervous for, but I felt relieved after the fight. Was just, I didn't want to come out and not be able to go back to the gym. So that was one of the biggest things. Was the next morning I woke up and I'm like, man, I could go back to the gym tomorrow. This feels amazing. Yeah.
Well, like in the camp, were you thinking about it a lot?
No, I wasn't necessarily.
That was the first injury of your career, right? Like the first time you had surgery?
Yeah, that was the first surgery of my career, yes. The fight before that, I had partially torn my knee. So I came from one injury to the next. So to be able to come out clear was good.
Jillian was on a bit of a roll, and I also feel like this was the first time, and correct me if you feel otherwise, where I don't think the trash talk was intense, but she was very confident as well, and she was feeling herself as she should have been. She was coming off a nice win. It felt like this represented a step in your career, right? Like the next chapter, you were fighting a different level of opponent, and this was the kind of opponent who was going to maybe give you the toughest test of your career. Did you listen to any of the things that she said? Did you feel that from her? And were you using that as motivation going into this fight?
I definitely was using it as motivation, but I didn't really play into it because I don't want to give people the credit for that.
Okay.
I feel like I talk a lot of crap and I do a lot of that, but I don't necessarily play into everyone else's. I feel like it should be, I don't want to give them any advantage whatsoever. So kind of ignoring it was the route I took. And I had a lot of people always sending me stuff. They're like, oh, did you see she sent you this? She sent this. She posted this. And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to train. So on one hand, I do go out and I post a lot of stuff on social media. But at the same time, I also ignore everything on social media. So I go on, do my business, and then I get out.
Okay. You don't read comments and things like that?
No.
You don't check on her?
Nope.
At all?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't even watch her film for this fight.
Really?
Yep.
Is that a common thing?
the reason why I do it is because I obsess over people and I obsess over the fight. So the way I look at it is if I go on and I watch her film and I expect someone to kind of treat a fight like I treat it. You know, if I go out and I watch film, I'm expecting them to fix every mistake that they made in her previous fight. So if I go and watch the film myself, I'm going to be looking for things that she's done in the past in that fight. So I don't want to be relying on something that she's not going to show if she's constantly improving. So I kind of leave that up to my team and my coaches to find out the habits that she continuously does over all of her fights, and then come and present those to me, and then we'll pick up and train off of those. But I don't want to obsess over something that could or could not be shown in the fight.
But like you're sitting, you know, you're in bed, you're trying to go to sleep. Let me pull out YouTube and.
I won't sleep.
Really?
I won't sleep if I do that.
Okay.
I'll start to think about it. I picture the fight in my head and I replay it in my own head, and I actually play the fight out.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, this scenario. And some nights, I'll lay in bed and the fight will be perfect, and I'll see it clearly of how I would win or how I can win or how each round would go. And then other nights it's I'll play the fight in my head and I'll actually have to work for the finish, or I'll have to work through a scenario rather than just going out and just completely dominating. So it's I fight that fight over and over and over in my head every single night all the way up until the fight. So yeah, if I lay in bed and I start to watch film, then I'm going to really have a hard time falling asleep.
Does defeat ever enter your mind? Is there ever that one time?
There is not a single night that I laid in bed and my hand wasn't raised at the end of the night, at the end of the fight.
Right.
I may have had to work a little bit harder in my head to get that win, but it was always I come out winning. Were
you always I wish your confidence is so impressive. The little thing with your dad booking you to come here, writing that, and I'm not, trying to say that you're the only confident fighter in the UFC. This is something we've seen from a lot of the greats, right? They almost will these things into existence, and they talk about how they're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like we saw with Adesanya recently. He's talked about doing X, Y, and Z, and he's done it all. Where does that come from? Is that just something that you were born with? Were you, as a 3-year-old, were you this confident? As a 7-year-old, as an 8-year-old? Or is this something that you worked on? I think I'm a pretty outspoken person, but in terms of the confidence, I've said this on multiple interviews before, it comes from a lot of the hard work that we put in. It's not just me that puts in the work. It's my team, my family, my coaches, but it's all work. It's... you just know you're ready. I just know I'm ready. Yeah, I came into that fight. I wasn't even nervous into this last fight. I had it a few times during the camp, but... I just came into this feeling really confident in where I was and just I was ready, So it's hard to and I don't let doubt enter my mind if I know that I'm going into a fight. You have to be, and my first coach told me this, Ryan Schultz. He told me, you have to be your cheerleader. You're your own cheerleader and you're your biggest fan, because at some point in your life, you're always going to have people who are trying to shoot you down. And if you're not your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader, then who is, So, yeah, that's kind of where the confidence comes from. Is I used to beat myself up every once in a while, and once he told me that, I was like, no, never again, because I have to be on my side all the time. So you had Duke Rufus and the rest of the team there from Rufus Sport in your corner. Is this the team now? Because I feel like you've been around. I have been. Everybody's like, you've been jumping from gym to gym. Yes. And was this your first time with them?
This was my first camp, full camp at Rufus Sport, and honestly, I'm happy with where I'm at.
How did you end up there?
How did we moved to Wisconsin to train with Ben Askren. We
moved to Wisconsin.
I did.
I moved. Family?
Yep, we moved it last November.
Wow.
And then right as soon as I got my last fight, so against JJ Aldrich, I jumped back because I didn't have my heart fully set in Wisconsin yet.
Right.
So I got offered the fight. I went right back to Colorado, did my camp there, and then I had the surgery, and that was when I could kind of sit down and I was like, all right, now I have time to think about it. I should probably give another camp a chance. And you look at all the credentials that they have at that team, and it's like, why would I not give this camp a chance, right? So I did, and I couldn't be happier. Duke Rufus is phenomenal. Ben Askren, everybody at Rufus Sport, it's just an amazing team. And I came into this fight feeling 100% ready and feeling like there was no question in my mind of anything. I wasn't concerned about any position. I wasn't thinking about what if she does this? What if she does this? I was ready. So I can't wait to have another camp just like that. And yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at.
How far do you live from Milwaukee?
I'm kind of in between. I'm like 15 minutes away.
Oh,
I was going to say I'm kind of in between here and there, but I can't really explain it because you probably wouldn't know.
No. But so wait, did you like your siblings move as well?
My whole family moved. We
Wow,
moved.
just for you.
My brother as well.
Okay.
My brother's
He's gonna
18.
train there
Yep,
too.
Wyatt
Yep.
Barber. He had his first fight, so he's actually going to fight again soon. I think November 22nd.
Pro?
Amateur, I believe, maybe
Okay.
pro.
Okay.
You know.
Wow.
We'll see.
How did the first one go?
It went good. You know, he got that first fight out of the way.
Did he
He
win?
got a first round finish.
Okay.
Yep, he did. He won. I was in his corner and I cried.
Wow.
So it was very emotional for me.
So were you probably more nervous for that than your own fight? Just watching him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I can't even imagine what my family goes through, but it's hard for me to watch people that I know care about, and especially my brother. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't go in there. You can't do anything for them.
Sure,
so it's
sure.
like you're very helpless, and you can't like throw a strike. You can't change a position. You can't. It's hard.
So you mentioned Ben Askren. It seems like perhaps he's taken you under his wing a little bit. I didn't know that you guys were working together. Then I kind of went back and looked, but I was talking to him after the fight, and I'm wondering if any of his fight promotion skills has rubbed off on you a little bit. Has he talked to you about the art of, he's great at this, right? No
He
secret.
has. Yeah, we've talked
Has he
a lot
talked to you about
it.
the psychology, behind how to build your career, call out the right people, make some headlines? Do you speak to him about that stuff?
We have. So I feel like I'm pretty smart as it
You
is,
are,
but
yeah.
he's added a lot to that. It's like we were texting back and forth all day yesterday, all day today of like, all right, well, think about what you're going to say, and here's this, and who you're going to call out, and who's this. And I mean, we talked about different people, but at the same time, we were also talking about how I'm not afraid to fight any of these girls. So that was kind of like the biggest thing. But yeah, in terms of fight promotion, like he's taught me a lot, and just being able to speak with someone who has that kind of mentality is like just listening to someone like that talk. I pick up a lot. So
So this
been
is your
helpful.
first time working with him?
Yes, I did this camp with him as well. Yeah.
Have you done the disc golf in his house?
No, I haven't, but I've been to his house several times, and he took me around and showed me the whole course. It's neat. I've actually never played disc golf, so I might have to
Me
ask him
neither.
about
It's
it.
an actual course in his backyard?
Yeah, he has like the whole thing set up.
Wow.
It's
amazing.
crazy, yeah.
So obviously the big headline after the fight. And by the way, were you okay with the stoppage? You thought it was just? I saw some people say, "Oh, it was a little too soon." I mean, obviously you're happy with it, but what did you think?
I've heard a lot of people saying that it was stopped too soon, and then I've heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, Maycee Barber always gets these early stoppages." I mean, if you look at the last 3 fights that I've had, Hannah Cyphers, that was not an early stoppage. JJ Aldrich, that was not an early stoppage, and same thing with Jillian. I mean, that was not an early stoppage. I mean, you could say it's an early stoppage if you want to let her have some more brain damage, but there was no getting out of that, and it was only going to get worse from there. So why let them take that much trauma? She's 24 years old. She's got a whole career ahead of her.
Right.
And if I was on the receiving end, I wouldn't want to be hit by me any more than she did. So I think it was a fine stoppage.
So 21 now, right?
Yes.
You're 21. We actually did a thing last week, top 25 under 25 fighters in MMA. Did you see this? I don't remember where did Maycee end up? I think you ended up
I was 6. And I
Six.
was very salty.
Yeah, were you upset? Were we wrong about that? Should you have been number one?
Well, I think you guys should change it now that you've seen that
Maybe,
last
yeah.
fight. But
I mean, we can't change it every week, but where should you have been going into that fight? You think number one?
I mean, I truly believe I am number one. You know,
Okay.
I looked at those numbers and I saw Sean O'Malley and I was like, where is he? Like, where is he? Like, I haven't seen him fight in how long, and I'm below him. So I don't know.
Okay.
I thought I should have been up there.
All right.
But yeah, I definitely should be up there now.
We have the clock. How far away is she from the milestone that she's trying to reach? Do we have this, Corporate Jake? There it is. Countdown to January 15, 2022. 817 days away to become the youngest champion in UFC history. Are we on track still?
We are.
Yeah?
I'd say so, wouldn't you?
I kind of feel like it's going a little quicker than I thought,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
So
I couldn't be happier with that number. I mean, knowing that that's how long I have, and
Did you know that?
I
If
didn't
would have asked
know.
you?
No, I didn't have the days.
You don't have it on your phone anymore?
I do, but it's in like years and months and.
Oh, okay. So there it is, 817 away. Wouldn't it be amazing if you get it in like 300 days and we can revert back to this, that you broke it by like 500 days?
Yeah, I mean, to crush
This is
that
a
record
moment
would
right
be
here.
even better. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great.
What do you think? What's your prediction now? You're not going to go down to the wire, right?
No.
How far
no.
away do you think you are?
I could see it in the next year or so.
Next year, like this time next year, you have fought for the belt?
I would like to, yeah.
Okay. So how many fights is that? How many more fights?
I don't know. I think like that's probably like 2 or 3.
Okay. I feel like we need to stick to 125. Like I heard you talking about 115. If you bounce up and down, I feel like we get off the train a little bit, right?
I kind of actually
Tracks,
disagree.
I meant.
Only because I feel like as long as you're a consistent fighter and you're still staying in the talk of the fans and you're staying consistent, you're keeping the wins, I think you're fine, you know?
Okay.
But I mean, right now I'm happy with 125 and I plan on fighting the next one at 125. We'll see about 115. You know, that's all up to the Performance Institute as well, because
Right.
they're the ones that have been helping me with this whole journey of going
You
back
go
to
there? You go to Vegas?
Performance Institute? Yeah, I've after every fight I go there for at least a week.
Okay.
I usually book the trip out like right away.
Okay.
Whether I'm healthy or not, like that's a phenomenal place to go and get physical therapy, to get the nutrition, the diagnostics, like everything. And it's free. I mean, as an athlete, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? You know, they're only trying to help you, and they have an amazing team out there. And yeah, so I go out there after every fight, and then usually I'll book a trip every like 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
Go out there and make like a couple days.
So after the fight, of course, you talked about Paige. Let's go.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. Any
She
talk?
disconnected her line though.
Oh, she did? What
I
are you
don't
talking
know.
about? Oh,
I'm pretty sure she did.
Are the UFC brass into this?
I'm sorry, what?
Are the UFC does the UFC want this fight as well? To the best of your knowledge,
As far as I know, yeah, we all want it.
everyone wants.
Everyone wants it except for Paige,
Okay, so
which is understandable.
Paige was sitting in this chair a couple months ago, as you may know.
I know.
I asked her about you.
Yes.
I want to play the clip for those that may have
Okay.
missed it, and then we'll get your reaction to it, okay? Here's Paige Van Zandt just a couple of months ago on this program talking about Maycee. By the way, Maycee Barber taking shots, huh?
Yeah, always.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just part of the division. Of course,
Okay.
everybody wants the money fight, and there's just there's people in line. So
Are you interested in that fight?
I definitely think it's an interesting fight. I do think that there's certain disrespect in the UFC and in MMA gets too much attention, and it gets too much validity.
Disrespect.
Being
Meaning, like,
disrespectful.
Okay.
Yeah, being a disrespectful person
Gotcha.
should not be valued.
Gotcha.
And I definitely won't.
Okay.
I won't give her the time of day.
You're not taking the bait.
No, I'm not going to take the bait.
Okay.
And that's why I've stayed relatively silent the entire time. I actually was going to say yes to the fight, and then I think it's completely inappropriate to slide into somebody's husband's DMs.
Wait,
and
what?
Try to get a fight.
She did that?
Yes. So
Tell us the story.
No, there's no story. That's it.
Wait.
Like,
You just
that's it. Just messaging my husband on Instagram.
Wow.
To, I don't
Is she
know,
trying to
get
bait-
at me. Trying
bait
to
you?
get I'm sure, like, she's trying
is she
just
talking
trying to catch
smack
the bait.
in the DMs?
No,
No,
but
she wanted to know a workout
I was
routine.
like, hey,
that
could
we
you send
do.
me that workout that you're doing? And
Yeah. It's like,
Oh.
come
like just something weird. Anyways,
Yeah.
Do you think she and was this in the midst of her calling you out?
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you respond?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I've stayed relatively quiet about this.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know what? I'm not going to reward disrespectful people. And it's
Wow.
it would be a reward for her to fight me, and she doesn't deserve it.
Okay. So a lot there.
Ha!
What do you think of all that?
So first of all, how many times did she stutter in that whole bit right there? And in terms of disrespect, gosh, if I didn't like someone and I thought they disrespected me, I would really want to beat them up. And I've said this before. And the fact that she can't beat me up is why she's trying to come up with an excuse. That's my opinion. In terms of the DMs, I think that was just like her only grab at an excuse to not.
Did that really happen?
Did I really slide into the
Yeah.
DMs? Yeah, and it was exactly what Austin said. It was for a workout video. I remember sitting with my coach. We were looking at like different workout videos, and it just so happened to be his Instagram. I didn't even pay attention. I just sent a message. I was like, "Hey, can I get that video?" Like, I didn't even think anything of it because
How long ago was this?
I couldn't even tell you.
Was this in the midst of
I
this
couldn't
back
even
and
tell you,
forth?
and I honestly no.
Okay.
Not that I know of, but I even went back and tried to find that DM because I was going to screenshot it and send it to you. They deleted it. So there's no way to prove that unless they have it. Then she could totally go and post it. Like, go for it. I don't care. Post the DM.
What you posted on, I think we have it. That was a joke. What you posted.
It
on
was a
yours?
complete joke. I was just mocking her because I thought that was hilarious. Some guy
That's
sent
right
me a
here.
DM. Yep.
Okay.
Someone sent me a DM, and so I screenshot it, and then I switched it, and I put his Instagram handle at the top.
You're very crafty. You did this all on your own?
Yeah, it was like took me like 2 minutes, and I
Really?
laughed my butt off about it.
Now, what is this DM that someone is sending you here?
I don't know. Someone sent me a DM just saying. I mean, they sent their dog, and then they were
Okay.
like, "Hey, come back
Oh,
here."
I get it.
Get it?
You
Yeah.
get that a lot?
I thought it was pretty clever. I thought it was
kinda clever.
hilarious.
Wow. So when you posted that, did they respond to you at all? Did they say this is not true? Did they get mad, or have they ignored you since?
Paige?
Yeah,
No,
Paige
they've
are
ignored
awesome.
me.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, the other thing that I was gonna say is, gosh, I lost what I was saying. Something about her being disrespectful, or me being disrespectful.
She said you've been disrespectful.
She said I was being
doesn't wanna take the
disrespectful,
bait.
and that's she didn't want to take the bait. How did she not take the bait? She took the bait. Did she not take the bait?
Well, I will admit, I feel like most people now want to see the fight because of the disdain that she has.
I mean,
for
she
you.
spoke my name and she talked about our little controversy here.
Yeah.
So I feel like she gave me the time of day and she kind of took the bait and
Right.
she created a story that a lot of people now want to see, because it's like the battle between the two girls. They're having some beef. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Now, where does this beef come from? Why her?
I mean, at first it was really just a fight that I really wanted.
You just viewed her as another.
I just,
notch on the-
she's got a big following.
Right.
She's got she has all of like the social media and the fans that a lot of people want to see. And then the way I look at it is, and I've said this before, she didn't hold up her end of the deal. She came into the UFC and the UFC backed her and they gave her all of this support and built her as an athlete. And they viewed her as, okay, here's a girl who's beautiful and she's talented and she's well spoken and she has all these things and we think she can fight, right? So they built her up. Well, she didn't hold her end of the deal. She didn't continue to evolve as a fighter, and instead she fell into the fame and which is great for her if that's the path she wants to take. But I view it as someone, I'm like, that girl's so beatable. She doesn't even belong in the position in the UFC that she's in because there are so many other girls out there like me who work our butts off day in and day out, and I would maul her. So I want to take that from her. I want to
She's
go out
afraid
there.
of fighting you?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. She wants nothing to do with you.
Yes. Absolutely. She does not want to fight.
She has one fight left on her deal.
Yeah.
Right. She said on the show that she makes more money posting on Instagram from sponsors, ads than fighting in the UFC. So do you feel like she just may never come? Like you won't get this fight because of that?
I mean, I think the only reason why I wouldn't get this fight is if she decided to retire from fighting.
Okay.
And then I feel like right there is where her social media and her ability to continue to grow on Instagram and make more money kind of stops. It kind of plateaus because the reason why she's that high of a profile person is because of what she's done with the UFC. So without that, without fighting and doing what she was originally doing, I mean, I think that people are going to eventually kind of be like, all right, well, she was there and now she's gone. So she didn't hold up her end of the deal, and I think it's kind of where it ends.
Have you ever met her?
I have. I met her one time when I was on the Contender Series, and I found the same card as Austin, which is,
Okay.
again, is another reason why I thought sliding into the DMs
Right.
would be okay, because they sent me through Instagram. They actually sent me a message first. They sent me a picture because Paige took a picture of my team. So I was like, oh, all right, we're fine. Like, yeah, I want to
Wow.
fight you. I know that we want to go back and forth, but I thought we were all right. So
Okay. She thinks you were like creeping on her husband, and that's why she doesn't like you.
I think that was her only excuse. She knows I'm not creeping on her husband. I don't want her husband. She can have him.
So has the UFC offered you to her?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it several times. We
Okay.
tried to get her to fight me. I offered to fight her when Rachel couldn't fight. But Rachel was able to fight, so obviously I let that go. I was like, okay,
Right.
Rachel's fine. She's good. But we've tried several times. When I went in the back and I talked with Dana, and he was like, well, how about Paige? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we
This
found
time?
out she was injured.
Oh, okay. Last time.
Yep. And then
okay.
we found out she was still injured, had to have surgery, so we kind of...
Did you talk to them on Friday about this fight?
I've been nonstop talking to them about getting Paige.
Okay. And what do
Yeah.
they say?
They're working on it. I think they're working on it pretty hard, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Now, let's just say worst case scenario, if you can't get Paige, is there anyone else that, I mean, you're good at calling people out and knowing what you want.
There's a few names. We've looked at the rankings, and there's several girls, but honestly, anyone in the rankings, I'm not afraid to fight any of them. So bring it on.
Okay. Do you feel like the rest of the weight class right now is not quite, I feel like the gap between Valentina and the rest of the weight class is the biggest. as far as any weight class in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like she's just that much better than
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I completely agree.
Okay.
I completely agree. That's a valid statement. She is a dominant champion, and then kind of the rest of the division is pretty wide open.
Yeah. So do you feel like by the time you make it to this date, whenever you're going to break this record that John Jones said, that she'll still be the champion? Like there's no one out there, even if she fights 3-4 times, that can give her a tough fight?
I think so, you know.
You probably want that, right? You want to be the one to beat her.
Yeah, why not? I mean, she's getting older, and I'm continuously getting better. And, yeah, I mean, as far as other women coming up, I haven't seen any, really. I don't know if there's any in any other promotions that could potentially be signed, but I haven't done too much extra research.
What do you think of her last fight?
Against, was it Liz Carmouche?
Yeah.
I thought that was a smart fight for her to fight because, you know, she's, as a champion, you're not supposed to go out there and just, like, try to fight the other person. You know, they're supposed to bring the fight to you, and they're supposed to try to take the belt from you, right? So I thought the fight that she fought was very smart in the sense of, you know, just keeping herself composed and not putting herself in a bad position. But Liz never really tried to go after her and take that fight from her. So as from like a fan's perspective, I think they could have been like, oh, well, that was a boring fight. That was bad, you know. But for me, I'm like, wow, that was a smart move on her team and her play, right?
Do you feel like the fans get uncomfortable when a woman talks trash like you do? Like that they feel like, oh, that's a man thing to do, and the female fighters shouldn't act like that. They shouldn't talk trash. Do you think they like that or dislike that? Do you get the sense, like, do you get heat? Because I notice, like, when I say that you're on the show, people are like, oh, she's big mouth and all this stuff. She thinks that she's so great. Do you get a lot of hate for that? As much as people may like it, do you also find that you get a lot of hate for it as well?
I think the higher up you become on social media, or the bigger person or bigger name that you become, the more hate you're going to have that follows that. From other fighters, some of them are going to like it, some of them are going to hate it. In terms of women, I think a lot of the female fighters feel like like, for example, Jillian, she was like, her mouth gets her a lot of places. I think the reason why a lot of women say that is because they can't do it. So I think it's a little bit of, I don't know if it's jealousy or what, but I think it comes from an uncomfortable position from them. But everyone's different, you know. Like some people can do it, some people can't, and it's just it's what they are, you know. It's their own personality,
Sure.
And I think it's something that the 120 all the women's divisions need actually. They need kind of like that bad guy or the bad girl. So I think I kind of fill that role, and I like doing it because it's something I enjoy, and I like causing a little bit of drama, and it's more entertainment for me, you know. Like I do have a genuine like enjoyment for the banter back and forth, and for the making people feel uncomfortable. So yeah.
Were there people you watched or still watch, like as inspiration? Like, are there people that you're like, that guy or that girl knows how to do it right? Like the trash talk, building up a fight. Are there people you admire?
Yeah, there's bits and pieces. You know, there's like bits and pieces from Conor McGregor, from Ben, from like a lot of different athletes. You know, there's just some clever things that they say, but it's kind of hard to like repeat them because you don't want to necessarily repeat them, but you're like, okay, I could take that, put it in my back pocket, and save that for another day.
Maybe inspiration on how to be
kind of,
quick-witted.
or more confidence.
Right.
Like,
That's the key thing.
Yeah, is also, you know, when you listen to a lot of these guys, you're like, all right, they're not afraid to say what they want. And the way to view it is, I shouldn't be either, because at the end of the day, all I really want to do is build a successful career and make money and build this as big as I can. And in turn, that's going to help the UFC. That's going to help me. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Do you feel like you're getting a lot of love from sponsors and stuff now? Are you getting a lot of attention? Are people jumping on the bandwagon?
I am, but I could always use more. You know,
Okay,
I'm working
let's
on
go.
a few deals, but I'm definitely open to getting some more.
Now, what is it like? You know, you're very close to your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's not in your corner, though, right?
He's not. He was in the back with me, though.
Right. So, I mean, this is an interesting thing, having a parent by your side throughout the career. I'm sure it could get stressful at times. Sometimes, you know, the parents are sitting off in the stands, not in the locker room, or helping to manage the career. What is that like for you?
It's a lot. I actually had my entire family out with me. So
wow.
for this fight, I even had my sister fly out. But my family's very close, you know, and so some days I feel I feel good and I can talk to them. And then other days I'm like, man, I just need a little bit of breathing space just because I don't want to necessarily feel like some of the pressure, even though they're like, there's no pressure, you know, it's you and we support you 100%. But at the same time, I'm like, you always want to make your parents proud.
Sure.
You always want to make your family proud. So I know the sacrifices that they put into me, and I know the effort that they put in. And that's always kind of in the back of my head. So that's why it gets hard sometimes. But I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, I mean, I had my brother. He was the biggest training partner I had for this entire camp. And we were actually riding over from the hotel to the venue, and he put a post up on Instagram, and it was saying how for the first time ever he was not nervous, and he's like the biggest one that gets the most nervous out of everybody in my family. And he put this post up, and he's like, all the nights that you elbowed me in the head, and all the days that we went and had pokey together. And he like made this whole long post, and I'm sitting in the bus on the way to the venue, and I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm like, it's a very big and close family thing for me, and it's honestly something that I will treasure forever.
It's a very common thing in boxing. Like you often see a father coaching or cornering his son, his boxing son. Not as much in MMA.
Lomachenko's like that.
Yeah. And there's been tons. Garcia, but there's not as much in MMA, and I'm wondering if you feel like this, like, do you want at some point, do you think it won't be the case? Do you feel like this is just good for now because you're so young, you're early in your career, or do you feel like this could be the way it will go for the rest of your career? Because towards the end, you don't see it as much in MMA. Like I know a lot of fighters who started off with the dad in their corner, but then for some reason or another, it kind of, they separate. I'm not trying to will that upon you.
No,
guys. I think
you're
it's
good.
a great thing. But do you feel like this is good now because you're so young and just figuring things out, but at some point it would be better for you to go off on your own?
No, I don't think. I think as time goes on, we'll get a little bit not farther away, but like I'll kind of get a little more space. Like I moved out, I have an apartment, and I like have my own space in terms of that. But if there ever comes a day where my family's not in my corner, it'll be by their choice, not mine, because
Interesting.
we're just so close, and I really want them there, and that's something that I hope is there forever, and I can't see them ever leaving my corner either. So it's kind of like it's an unsaid desire.
Unspoken.
Unspoken desire for both of us to just continue that relationship forever.
It's like clockwork. Every time you fight, I'll get like 3 or 4 messages from managers. Who manages Maycee? Is this still her dad? Like everyone, they're like sharks. You know that,
I know.
right?
Everybody's like, oh man, her dad's her manager.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, that's a good team, because if I didn't have, and this is probably not something a lot of managers want to hear, but if I didn't have my dad as a manager, I don't know if I'd have a manager, because I feel like my parents have raised me well enough to know and be smart about it. And I surround myself with a lot of good people, and obviously my dad's a part of that. And so I think that him and I make a great team together, and it's not just him, it's me too, but he's the big part in it, you know. And I know that if my dad wasn't like the management, like had that title as manager, I could always go back to him and be like, Dad, I need your help.
Okay.
You know, and even without my dad, like my mom's there too, you know, and she's there as well. So it's a family thing, and I'm not looking for a manager.
Okay, there you have it. So that was.
Sorry, all the managers out there.
They're going to keep trying, no doubt about that. So that was your 3rd fight in the UFC. Is there one more on the fight contract? Usually it's 4 fights to start off, or.
So I signed from the Contenders. I had 2 fights, and then we already renegotiated. So I'm back. That was my first fight back on my new contract.
Oh, look at you.
Yep. So I have another one, and then we'll probably renegotiate.
You like the current deal?
I do. Yeah, I'm happy.
Or are they getting a discount? Do you feel like you should be getting more? What do you think?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like I could take a little more, but
yeah.
It helped. It helped with my training.
Also, where's that confidence?
It would help with my training.
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like I'm underpaid in the sense of I would like to be able to afford and pay for better coaching and better training and nutrition and like all of that. That's really what all my show, my win, everything goes towards, is I'm just investing back in myself. So if you invest in me, you're investing back into the athlete. You're not investing into fancy cars and
right.
and diamond rings and all these crazy things. I truly want to be the best in the world, and I need, that takes money. That takes sponsors, that takes money, that takes effort, and that's why I feel like getting paid more would just truly help me out more.
By the way, if the Paige fight doesn't materialize for whatever reason, what do you think of you versus Antonina Shevchenko? Kind of like, I haven't seen anyone kind of target the sister to get to the other sister. You know what I mean? What do you think of that idea?
That was a conversation between Ben and I, and he was actually kind of like,
okay, I'll admit I stole that from Ben. He told me that.
oh yeah?
Yes, yeah, I totally stole
really?
that from Ben. He said this exact same thing to me. If we can't get Paige, she should go after the sister.
Yeah. That's what he told me. He's like, you should go after this one, and then if you get this one, then you could be like, all right, this is your preview. And I was like, that's very smart, and I agree
Why
with
didn't
that.
you say
100%.
that when I teed you
I
up
agree with
earlier?
it. Well, because I also feel like I'll fight any of them.
Okay.
Like I don't need to necessarily pick out just one.
Okay.
I'm fine with picking out multiple people. Because I know at the end of the day, like we're gonna all have to make a decision together, and I don't really have any like fears of fighting any of them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, in terms of Antonina.
Antonina
Antonina Shevchenko. Yeah, fighting her would be just like, kind of like a, hey, I'm coming, and this is
Right. That's
this
not
is what's
bad.
coming for you,
I kind of like
Valentina.
that.
Yeah. I would like that too.
Yeah,
Kind of a preview.
people get very upset when the younger fighters talk about Valentina. Like Molly McCann got all kinds of hate for this, saying that she could, she'd take that fight again. Like, how dare you talk about her? Like, what are you
I was
supposed
gonna
to
say,
say?
yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you'd get smashed, or you'd get, like, you didn't even belong in the cage with her. And I disagree. I feel like everybody deserves a chance, and I feel like I don't just deserve a chance. I deserve a lot of credit for the fights that I've had.
Yeah. 3 finishes in the UFC. Do you know the company that you're with? Your 3-fight UFC knockout streak is tied with Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg for the longest by a female fighter. And I believe I think those two were the first two to start also their UFC careers with 3 finishes in a row. Like, this is great stuff that you're doing here.
Let's keep it going.
Yes, why not? Let's break the record. Let's be all by ourselves. Now, birthday year is 1998.
Yes.
Which is just absurd to me. 1998. I was in the 10th grade.
What were you doing in 1998?
10th grade. I was a man by that point. You were getting born, and now here you are knocking people out with standing TKOs. I love a standing TKO. That's always a lot of fun. There's something about it. It's like the person is just so beat up that they can't even fall to the ground. So kudos.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, I want to play a fun little game with you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I actually stole this from our NBA team as well, where this summer they spoke to a lot of the rookies who are born around the same time as you, and they showed them iconic things from the 90s.
Oh boy.
And they wanted to know if they knew what these things were. Okay, so like I said, I was in 10th grade in 1998. Like, I was 16 years old when you were born.
So you're gonna play things from the 90s, but I was in like late 90s.
Yeah, I know, but still, you're a 90s baby. All right.
All right.
It still counts. Corporate Jake, do we have this?
Yes. All right. Let's.
Okay, so I think they're going to show you photos from the 90s. These are the photos right here. Do you know what that is?
Ew, it's a VHS tape.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well done. A lot of the rookies didn't know this. Do you know what the thing that the tape is going into is called?
VCR.
Wow.
Ooh, look at that.
2 for 2. I'm impressed. Okay, do you know what that is?
They're like slap bands, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're the wristbands you like snap on your wrist. I
That's
used
right.
to love those.
Okay.
Every time we go to
Are
Chuck E.
those not a thing anymore?
I don't know. I think you could cut up a tape measure and get one.
That's true. When I was in elementary, they told me that if you did it too hard, you can cut your veins on your wrists, and that you shouldn't
That's
do
probably
it.
why they banned them. Because
I think it's BS, if I'm being honest. But anyway, do you know who that man is? Iconic 90s fighter.
I had it in my head. That's not Don Fry, right?
It is.
Oh, look at that! I actually met him before.
Really? What was that like?
I met him when I was fighting in LFA,
Okay.
and yeah,
Was he nice?
he had a big cigar in his hand.
Yes. That is a man's man right there. You hear his voice? Incredible. It's very down.
Very deep, yeah.
Okay, so we're 4 for 4. What else do we got? Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't know what
SD
this
cards?
is?
No.
SD cards would be a very 2019 thing to say. No idea.
What is it?
It's a floppy disk.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you used to put things on those.
Hey, I at least got the thing about the
You know
computer.
what?
It goes with the computer,
I
right?
don't want to give you like a half point for that.
I get to have a point.
But you probably never used one of those before. Like
No, I've heard my dad has
you
used one
would,
before.
I'm sure
Pretty
Bucky
sure.
knows about a floppy disk, right? I mean, this is.
I've heard him
classic
talk
stuff.
about, hey, honey, where's the floppy disk?
Do you know about this?
That's some sort of video game. No, I don't know what that is.
I believe this is a Tamagotchi.
I've heard that name too, but
Yeah.
I've never had one.
I think you would like almost, there was like a little egg, and then you would feed it, and then it would become a thing. Kids used to play with
Grows
this.
up. It's kind of
Yeah.
like one of the fur baby. Hey, that's Full House.
Wow, how do you know? So you're.
I thought you used to watch that.
It's a classic, right? Can you name all the people?
There's Jesse, and that's it.
That's Danny Tanner.
Danny, okay, and then
Well, she was actually just in the news. I think she might be in trouble with the law.
I saw that actually
Yeah,
when I was
with her
sitting back
kids.
there. Yeah,
Isn't that
something-
crazy?
I didn't see what happened, but
Or getting her
Ooh.
kids in school.
I don't remember her name though.
No, I don't remember her name. I know her real name is
Let's start
Lisa
with a J.
Laughlin. Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky. That's
Yes.
right.
There it is. Uncle Jesse.
Jesse.
John Stamos in the middle. Now, do you know what that is?
That's a projector.
Man, we totally screwed up on this one.
My
We
teachers
wanted
used to use this when I was in
embarrass
elementary school. Yeah, you're not
Really?
embarrassing me.
No, I mean,
Hey,
you're
I'm
killing
smart.
it.
I'm smart.
You are smart. Much smarter than the NBA rookies, that's for sure. Do you know what that? Well, I mean,
It's like a Walkman.
yeah, Corporate Jake. It says Walkman on it. What's wrong?
Well,
with
I
you?
didn't even read that.
You didn't read it? It's right
I didn't
there.
read that, but I had the one where that was like a disc, like kind
Oh,
of like a
yes.
CD.
A CD.
Yeah.
A Discman. I guess that was.
It was
called.
still a Walkman.
Yeah.
But I
you
had
know-
one of those.
And do you know who that is?
No.
You don't know who that is?
No, I recognize him from somewhere.
Steve Urkel?
Okay.
You remember him? You
No.
didn't watch that show? Family Matters? Classic.
Nope.
Bucky,
I got Full
remember
House,
Steve
all right?
Urkel?
Give me some.
Of course, yes.
Cut me some slack.
Actually, Full House is older than Steve Urkel.
I think I've seen a show or two, but I don't remember them.
The microphone's moving away from me. What about Fuller House? You ever watch that?
I think I've seen one or two episodes, but it's
Yeah.
not the same.
That was the reboot.
It's not the
Not as
same.
good. Do you know who that is?
No.
No? The greatest
Something to
hockey
do with
player
hockey.
of all time. Yeah. Well, NHL. No? The great
Nope.
one?
Nope.
No? Doesn't
No.
ring a bell?
No.
Edmonton Oilers?
Nope.
LA Kings?
Nope.
St. Louis Blues?
Nope.
New York Rangers? No? Wayne Gretzky?
Still no. I recognize that name.
Yeah, there he is. What about Corporate Jake? It says it on the thing. What's wrong with you guys?
I had a Nintendo 64
Okay, a little later.
a little later,
Yeah.
and a GameCube.
Okay.
So I had
Also,
those two.
Do you know what that? I mean, it's right there. Sega Genesis. Good job.
I never had one of those though.
Who's to blame for this? Jordan?
No, it's me.
Way to go.
You can blame me.
Well, I mean, we're doing a guess what, and you're putting the thing. Can we go back to the Walkman for a second? Is it possible to go back to that photo?
Yes, we can.
Why is there a pack of cigarettes next to it?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking the guys.
Oh.
Do we have any idea what's going on?
I
over
have
there?
no idea why.
Why,
it's
is,
cigarette.
are you implying that we need to smoke? Do you know? Would you have known that that's a pack of cigarettes? Kent cigarettes?
Maybe that just came together as like a package because when you went out to walk your dog with the Pac-Man or with the Walkman, you kind of had to get your cigarettes,
Cigarettes.
out.
Yeah. I hope you don't do that.
I don't.
No. If
You?
have a dog? No, I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't smoke
Then we're
myself.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All
But have you ever used a Walkman like that?
Not that kind.
Right.
I had one of the CDs.
Just the CD,
Yeah.
never with the
Never with the
cassette.
cassette, no.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, I don't know if we were counting. Were we counting back there? I feel like you got pretty much every single one except for.
I like I should get a prize.
Yeah. Did you ever see this clip of the rookies, the NBA rookies? They asked the
No,
NBA rookies at like
I haven't.
the media day, and they didn't know what any of these things were. And they're your age.
Huh.
I guess you're an old soul.
I've been told that before.
You have?
It keeps turning on me.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have been told that before.
Right here, there's a little thing that you can make it a little tighter. You see that right over there?
Yes.
Well done. We've got nothing
you.
for you. No prizes or
Darn.
parting gifts for that, but
Darn.
I think you crushed it. I wanted to ask about the layoff and how soon you want to come back. So since you had a layoff, how soon do you want to come back? Probably not this year, right? That
I
would,
mean, we may be talking about December actually.
Really?
So, yeah.
that soon?
That's soon.
December 14th?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Potentially. And if not December, either January or February.
So
But
that would be in less than 2 months. You're okay with that?
possibly. Yes. It just depends on who and we'll see. I have to talk to everybody. I haven't even gotten home to like sit down on my couch for like 5 minutes. So.
Sure. You want a bit of a break.
Maybe like a day,
Okay.
but that's it.
You're not going to take an extended period. You don't want to take an extended
No, I'm already planning on going back to the gym hopefully tomorrow. So
Okay.
I'd like to. I went and worked out yesterday, so that was nice.
Okay. Is there a part of you that wants to make up for lost time because you only got?
I don't feel like I lost time necessarily, just because like if I look at other fighters, they're like they purposefully take that much time off, and I'm like, well, man, I was kind of forced to take that much time off, and I was regretting it the whole time, but I feel like it all worked out for the good because that forced me to work on my metabolism and really helped me mentally a lot. So,
What do you mean by mentally?
just mentally in terms of like having to be forced into not training with surgery, and it kind of gives you the this perspective of I shouldn't take training for granted. Like the next morning after this last fight, I woke up and I was like, wow, all I want to do is go to the gym, because this time last fight, all I was doing was getting ready to go in for an x-ray, and
Yeah.
I felt nothing like wanting to go into the gym. So to be able to wake up and feel like I could go and work out is great.
It's a gift.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It
We
really
take
is
it
a
for
gift,
granted.
and it's something that I think a lot of us fighters, we go through and we fight, and then we're like, man, I just can't wait for a break, and I can't wait to just not do anything. But then you also think about, what about all the people that don't get to do something,
Right,
So I kind of feel like we get a little selfish at times. So.
Yep. Was there one, when people fight, everyone goes online and talks, wow, Maycee looks so good. This guy looks so good. Was there one person that wrote about you or maybe even reached out to you? You're like, wow, this person gave me props. That felt really good.
Chael actually did the whole bad guy breakdown.
Yeah.
Or whatever he calls it, but
On your fight.
he did,
Yeah,
yeah,
what'd
and
he
he
say?
gave me a lot of credit, and
About the fighting or the trash talking? Because he
I
likes
think a
both.
little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, he gave me a lot of things that I watched it twice, and then we actually asked you for his number because I wanted to call him up, because I was like, you got one thing wrong, because he did that video and he was like, I think it was by accident that I was where I was, or that I had said what I said about the youngest champion goal, and so I called him up and I'm like, that was the only thing you got wrong. Aside from that, I'm like, I'm honored to have you talk that way about me. And
Wow.
so he just gave me a lot of good compliments. He was saying something about my striking, being able to, not just throw one punch hard or this hard. It was like, my striking, my knees, my kicks, my elbows, and like it all played together. So to hear him talk about that it was really neat. And to hear him give me that kind of credit, I look up to a lot of like the higher level fighters from Chael and DC and and Ben and like all of these guys, to hear them say such good things about me and about my fighting style is like, it's an honor.
Yeah. And Chael is a teammate of Paige's. So that must have, did you get in any shots when you
I
were
didn't.
talking?
I should have. I
Sent
should
a
have said it
message?
when I talked to him, but I think he knows what's up.
Yeah.
He knows what's up, and he knows that that's not a good fight for her. But at the same time, if he's a teammate of hers, he should support her.
Right.
I wouldn't want to give her any false hope, but yeah.
So is the prediction December 14th, Paige Van Zandt? Is that what we're predicting in Las Vegas?
That would be my goal and my prediction, but
That's
we'll
the
see.
dream.
That would be, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can give her a little more time to prepare. Give her like January, February if she needs that much time. But
Okay.
yeah.
Gosh, you're like the boogie woman coming after her. You want to rid the UFC of Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, I do. Or yeah,
I'm just helping you out here with the lines.
I do. I mean, I would like to see her go. Not necessarily like to see her career end, but she said stuff about wanting to go to Bellator, and I'd be a good parting gift for her.
Okay. Well done. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done. You are killing it. Really are. And it's amazing to see what you're doing at 21 years old. You're the second youngest fighter on the roster. Did you know that?
They told me when I went there in Boston, they were like, you're back to being the youngest. And then I heard that I was the second youngest. And
Well, according to our notes,
Which is-
Chase Hooper is currently the youngest, but he hasn't fought
that's
yet.
what I asked him.
He hasn't
Yeah,
fought
okay.
yet. So
So we're going to go with I'm still the youngest.
I guess
Chase you have to get a fight first before you can take
That's
that
right.
from me.
UFC 245 is his debut. So I guess until he fights, you're the youngest.
All right.
Won't last forever. And
okay.
you were ranked number 6. Right now, I'm going to put you at number 1 on the under 25.
Thank you.
Why not? Don't
Thank
tell AJ McKee that I said that.
I won't.
But, I think that you should at least move up. I don't remember who number 5 was, but it's a good point about Sean O'Malley. He has been inactive, and so you've been doing your thing, and it's been really impressive.
And I've been staying clean and out of being failed drug tests, so
that should count.
I think that should count for something.
All right, fair enough. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much to your father as well. Hope you guys enjoyed being at ESPN and keep doing your thing.
I have for sure. This is an incredible facility. Thank you.
Thank you. I built it actually.
Did you?
Yes,
By your hands with your hand?
Yeah.
We're going to call you Bob the Builder.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I appreciate it. There she is. Maycee Barber, the future. By the way, who gave us that nickname, the future?
The future, it kind of came from like the whole family,
Oh, your family gave it to you.
My whole family, yeah. It was kind of
liked
like a decision off of all of us.
And don't change. Like I see people saying, "Oh, you can't be the future."
You got to be the future. You got to be the now, the present.
Uriah Faber is the California kid, and the guy's 40 years old.
I know. He's like
Just stick with
old
it.
looking kid. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Just stick with it. You become the
sure.
champion. You say, guess what? I'm 40 years old champion. I'm the future.
Exactly.
Guess what? Yeah. What are you going to do about it? So
I like that.
Don't buy
That's
into
good.
people trying to change your nickname.
I won't.
All right. Maycee Barber, thank you very much. You could
you.
just walk. No one's going to actually, we're very no frills here. So
like
no one's actually, just like that. Slide away. There she goes. And there she is on our screen. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And as you can see right over there, she is called the future, 8-0 as a pro, 3-0 in the UFC. It says second youngest in the UFC, but I'm going to go with her. I say youngest until Chase Hooper actually fights, and that's UFC 245 on December 14th. A card, by the way, that she may compete on. That's the Las Vegas card with the 3 title shots. Thank you very much to her father as well. Great guy, Bucky Barber, who helped set this all up. It was a lot of fun having them in studio. And no thanks to Corporate Jake and Jordan for,
welcome.
Sega Genesis, and it says Sega. Can we have at least blurred it out?
I apologize.
Walkman?
I apologize.
And it says Walkman.
I apologize again.
Yes, all right. Otherwise, it was fun, although I think that she did a lot better than most of us thought, right?
We tallied. She answered 6 correctly.
6 out of?
6 out of 11.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought she did better. That's a little over 50%. Maybe I'll take back what I just said.
That's rude.
All right, I won't. But well done. Well done to her. Did a lot better than the NBA rookies. Okay, matter of moments, we're going to be joined by Niko Price, who a lot of you were very upset that I didn't have on the program. For now, take a look at some of the notables from Friday night in Boston. By the way, I love the Friday card. I'd like to see more of these cards in the future, especially during football season. I see that a lot of you like the fact that there was no competition with the Saturday night college football game. You got your Friday, you come home from work, you watch the fights. Why not? Why don't we get a few Friday? Not for a pay-per-view, but for a fight night. It'd be nice to switch it up a little bit, right? I think so. Anyway, there you see some of the results. Joe Lauzon, Maycee, Darren Stewart beat Deron Wynn. Deron Wynn has some decisions to make. He missed weight. I know that's a tough one when you're a protege of Daniel Cormier. You got to make weight. So we'll see what happens with him. But all in all, a fun card on Friday. Okay, so that's the lineup. Let me tell you right now about our good friends over at Vivid Seats. You know I love these guys. Oh, we're back to the old music. We had 1 week with
I missed it.
with new music, and now we're back. I mean, really. Anyway, these guys are great. I love these guys over at Vivid Seats. They helped us out with the Helwani Roadshow back in June, and there are talks, by the way, of doing another one. I know I said New York. Now it's looking like December 14th is in the driver's seat. So to our good friends over at Vivid Seats, would love to have you on board if you're down. If you want to be on board, we'd love to have you. They're great. A lot of good things going on in the world of sports these days. You got the MLB playoffs. I'm not going to watch the World Series, of course, because the Nationals are involved, and I refuse to support anything that they're involved in. But if you want to go and support either the Nationals or Astros, if you want to go to NFL, NHL has begun. NBA starting this week. There's a lot of good things going on, and Vivid Seats is your place to go for any event ticket. Vivid Seats is an online event ticket marketplace dedicated to providing fans of live entertainment with experiences that last a lifetime. With Vivid Seats, listeners can watch their favorite teams and artists perform in person, earning credit back on all purchases made through the Vivid Seats app via the Vivid Seats Rewards Loyalty Program. Vivid Seats helps fans find their seats to any of their favorite live events, including sports, concerts, theater, and more, all through the Vivid Seats app. Vivid Seats offers great prices and an easy purchasing experience, as well as an in-app loyalty program, and it's called Vivid Seats Rewards. With reward statuses ranging from MVP to Hall of Famer, customers can earn from 10% up to 16% credit on all of their purchases through their app. Go to the App Store or Google Play right now and download the Vivid Seats app. Fans are automatically enrolled in the Vivid Seats Rewards loyalty program. All Vivid Seats confirmed orders are backed by a 100% guarantee. Enter promo code ESPN25. It's the 25th anniversary. No, it's not. It's the 40th anniversary of ESPN. Why is it ESPN 25? Does anyone know? Anyway, enter promo code ESPN25 for 10% off your next order. That's ESPN25 for 10% off your next order. I wonder why it's 25. Also, by the way, I want to give a shout out to the good people over at the ESPN Daily Podcast. It is a brand new podcast hosted by the prolific Mina Kimes. I'm a huge fan of hers. She just launched this morning. It comes out Monday through Friday AM, and she takes a look at all the most interesting stories at ESPN in just 20 minutes. It's sort of like the New York Times Daily, if you ever listen to that, where it's like, you know, the news of the day gets you caught up in 20 minutes. It's a good listen. This morning they talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their win last night and Jerry Jones and all that stuff. It's great. Listen and subscribe now to ESPN Daily wherever you get your podcasts. All right, support them because they support us. Now, thank you very much to Maycee Barber and her father for coming in studio. Last week when we threw out the lineup for the show, I had all the names. It was a nice little lineup. A lot of you were very mad about the fact that I didn't have Niko Price on. How could you not have Niko Price on? Pulled off one of the best knockouts of the year. He knocked out James Vick with that up kick, hit him with the heel to the face. I mean, it was just amazing. Another one of his out-of-nowhere knockouts, and they were all very upset. And there he is. I have righted the wrong. I listened to the feedback. I understood that I had, deprived the people of this man, the hybrid, and so I reached out to him and I apologized and I said we must have you on the program. And so there he is, Mr. Niko Price. Niko, how are you?
I'm just chilling.
Well, it's good to have you on the show, and I just want to say I apologize for leaving you out of last week's lineup. You deserve to be there, and it was a mistake on my part, so I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. It doesn't bother me at all.
All right. Well, better late than never. It's great to have you on the show. What a win. What a performance once again for you. Your ability to pull things out of very maybe unorthodox positions out of nowhere. I mean, it's just amazing how you're able to, fly by the seat of your pants and be so creative with your attack. This particular one is one of my favorites. I'm curious, how many times have you watched it since last Saturday? Because it's almost like a shocking knockout to see that come out and he crumples down. How many times have you actually watched this?
I've watched it a lot in the last week. Like, I watched myself because I remember doing it. It was like I was waiting. You threw my leg across. I dragged it and just axe kicked him right in the mouth. So
is that something you worked on?
The opportunity came up.
Oh, I think we lost you there. Do you hear me?
It's like delayed.
Yeah, it's a little delayed. Do you hear feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe let's reconnect with Mr. Price because I'm hearing some feedback as well. Is that okay, guys? All right, we're going to reconnect with Niko and see if we can get that sorted out for you. So please stand by. Niko will be back 14-3, 6-3 in the UFC. As I mentioned, just defeated James Vick via first-round knockout at UFC Fight Night Tampa. 13 of his 14 wins are via stoppage, 10 by KO or TKO. His win over James Vick was the second in UFC history by upkick knockout. John Fitch over Thiago Alves back in 2006 was the first. How crazy is that? Just the second in UFC history. Amazing. And he's also tied for second most finishes at welterweight since 2016 with 6. You'll recall he fought in Edmonton this past July, against Jeff Neal and had a phenomenal fight back and forth. They went, in the end, Jeff Neal won that fight, but that's one of the fights of the year and certainly one of the rounds of the year as well. I believe the first round was just incredible. So if you don't know Niko Price by now, I mean, he's really, you look at his record, he's really one of the most fun fighters in the UFC. every single fight that he has, either this is the amazing thing, 14-3. That's 17 fights. And I believe only one has gone the distance. Only one has actually even gone into the third round, and it's the fight that gone the distance. So it's amazing. First or second round, every single time, usually it's him winning via KO or TKO. Niko, are you there? No, I didn't hear him. Oh, you're back. Niko, are you there?
Yeah, you guys can hear me now?
Yes, I can. Is that better? Sounds better for me.
Way better. It's way better. It works perfect.
Okay, cool. So you said you've watched it a bunch of times since last Saturday, yes?
Yeah, I have. I've been sitting in there, and I just replayed in my head. Like, he left his face wide open, and I was like, no way. And I brought it back, and I just dropped my heel right on him.
Is that something you worked on?
Actually, I get yelled at by my coaches in training for doing that because it's such a low percentage move. And but I got a good finish out of the low percentage, so it worked for me.
What did you say to them afterwards, since they're the ones telling you not to do it or that it's low percentage, and you just scored one of the best knockouts ever via that move?
So I looked at him and I said, "You said it couldn't be done. I did it. I did it."
Is that what you were saying right after? I saw you like shouting at someone right after the fight. Is that who you were talking to?
Which part? Like right when I got up?
Yeah.
When I put my hands like this and I was looking at my coach, I was like, "We did it. We did it. I told you it could be done. I did it. We did it." You know, like, but after, me and Perry caught eyes and he flicked me off. So I just told him to sign the contract.
Okay. Well, so let me ask you about that. How did you even know that he was there?
Well, I actually saw Perry at the hotel, and I walked up to him, and I was trying to be genuine, but I guess the way it came off, it was not genuine towards him at all, because I don't think he processes stuff nicely. He's like on defense all the time. But I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "Are you gonna be able to get another fight in before the end of the year? Like, your nose is good." And then he replied with me with some smart little comment. He was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't get knocked out in my last fight."
Oh.
And I was like, "Ooh, me neither." But I said, "You're gonna get knocked out in your next one."
Oh.
So like, but I was just saying that to come back. You know, I have no hard feelings with him. I mean, me and him are gonna be a fight. That's all I want. I want great fights under my belt, you know? Like, I don't want chump fights. I want people everyone thinks is great, so I can get in there and show you how great I am.
Wait, was that the first time that you ever met Mike Perry?
Physically, yes.
Oh, what do you mean physically?
We've seen it, like when we actually touched hands. Like, I walked up and shook his hand.
Okay, but
So,
you've
like,
talked before.
Oh, yeah, we've almost fought before the UFC. I challenged him for my belt. I was like, "Come on, man, let's go fight for my belt." You know, and then he was telling me that the promoter wasn't paying him enough money and he didn't want to take the fight. And I was like, "How about this? I'll give you my paycheck too." You know, like, because I wanted to fight the best, and he was the best at the time. So I was trying to get a fight with him because I didn't care about anyone else. I want to prove myself. I want to fight the best, you know, to prove to myself I am the best. You know, like, so it's no hard feelings with anybody I fight. We can all go have a beer after. Till then, though, you know, until after the fight, I'm going to try to knock you out.
And which belt was this? Was this Fight Time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys have kind of been circling each other. I guess it's a bit of a Florida thing, right? You live in Florida, he lives in Florida. So but there's no actual beef there between you two? You just feel like this is a good fight?
Not with me. I don't care. I don't have beef with anybody. You know? That's all it is. Like, I'm in this to make money, to support my family, man, and praise God on the mic. You know, I just want to yell his name as loud as I can and just bring home a nice check so my kids can go to a good school and I can give them a great home.
But after your win on last Saturday, you saw him flicking you off?
Well, yeah, like I looked over at him and we caught eyes, and then I saw a little double fingers come up.
Whoa.
And then I ran over there and I was like, "It's go time." I was like, "Let's go." I said, "Just sign the contract. I'm done talking about him.
Yeah.
I'm done." Like, me and him, I said what I needed to say. Everybody, you know, I want to fight him. it would be a great fight.
Yeah.
Whenever they want, I'm ready.
So they wanted to make him versus they wanted to make him versus Robbie Lawler in December, but Robbie can't fight, and not because he doesn't want to fight. He has an issue that he has to deal with. But Perry tweeted this a couple of days ago. He tweeted, "Robbie don't want to fight me. They don't want to give me Niko because they think the money is too easy for me. As much as they're going to pay me, they want the competition to match up." What do you make of that? Is that true? The UFC doesn't want to make this fight?
I do. That's news to me. They must tell him stuff they haven't told me. I walked in, I think it was last year, the beginning of the year, the Orlando fight. I was trying to get on that card. And I came to Orlando and I saw Sean Shelby in the big hallway at the hotel. And I ran there and I said, "Hey, man, I'm ready to fight. I'll fight anybody, Perry, anybody you want." So like Perry's always been on my mind to fight. So whenever it happens, it'll be a great day. It'll be a great day. Someone's coming off the canvas.
Yes. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. Let's see if it actually happens. But you're back on track here. The Jeff Neal fight. Again, it's like one of those fights where it's almost like your style is kill or be killed. It's always very fun. You've only gone the distance once in your career, but in that particular case, it didn't go your way. What went wrong in that fight? Why didn't it go your way, in your opinion?
I missed my opportunities. That's all. I had a lot of them. I dropped him 3 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped me twice, but when I dropped him, I was a step behind my normal self. I can't make excuses at all. He brought it that night. I brought it that night, and he got it. Nothing to be said. Dan thought I went to sleep, but I didn't go to sleep. I was awake. I was moving those punches. They were barely hitting me. He missed me with the last 3 of them. But, like, when Dan stopped it, I was like, "No, Dan, you stopped it. I'm alive. I'm awake. Don't do this." He's like, "No, you went out." I was like, "No, I didn't. I didn't go out." And then he was trying to hold me down. I was like, "Get off."
Yeah.
And then I just jumped up, and I looked right at Jeff, and I was like, "Ah!" And I yelled, I effing hate you. But I meant it, like, playfully. And I was like, "Come here, man." I was like, "That was a great battle." And then we just started talking.
Yes.
I said, I was like, "I almost had you." So it was so fun.
Have you always
I had a
been this
blast,
kind of
man.
fighter? Like just very unorthodox, getting finishes out of nowhere, looking for things in unexpected places. Like, was that always your style, or something you developed over time?
It's me, man. Like, I've always attacked in positions that people think are neutral or you're safe in. It's like, man, if I could reach you, you're not safe. I'm gonna get you. I have really long arms and I have really long legs, and I'm awkward. So I know I'm unorthodox, but like, the more I'm learning throughout fighting, I'm seeing so many more opportunities to hit people. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if I finish more people throughout my career like this. I'm gonna be like a Nate Diaz about it and say I'm not surprised at all. Because it's my style. I hammer fist people from the bottom all the time in training. I up kick people. I mean, I don't up kick them, but I attempt it. I put it out there, and I won't actually hit my training partners with it because that's messed up.
The Randy Brown one might be my favorite one. What's your favorite right now at this point in your career?
I can't even tell you, sir. I'm blessed with so many of them. Like you said, I got 10.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And each one of them, I look at them as thank God for it, because without him, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. I wouldn't have these opportunities. And I don't have a favorite. I love them all.
Is that why they call you the hybrid?
It started out because, like, when I first started with MMA, I did both. Like, I started straight with ground, stand up, everything, and I was good at all of it. So they were like, "Oh, you're like a hybrid." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I like that." And then it just, the hybrid wolf became like the symbol, because I'm a dog. When I'm in there, you're gonna have to kill me until my last breath when I'm biting you. it doesn't matter.
How did you first get introduced to MMA?
I wanted to be a cop.
Okay.
So I went to learn self-defense, and I went into a gym. I saw some dudes in the boxing ring beating each other up, and I asked the guy, I was like, can I do that? And they were like, yeah. And I went in there, and I punched some dude in the face, and he didn't get up, and I was like, this is awesome. And then I stopped wanting to be a cop instantly and just right to MMA.
Wow.
That was 10, 11 years ago.
Wow. So you had no martial arts background, no fighting background?
No, I came right off the football and rugby field.
Really? You played football
Right
and
to the
rugby?
ring.
Usually it's one or the other.
Yeah. Well, I started football for 12 years. After high school, we found a rugby club. I became like an all-state guy in that. And then after that, I just found the MMA.
Okay.
And never left. Since then, it's been my life ever since.
So you were trying to become a cop. You were on your path to becoming a cop. Then you dropped that quickly when you saw people doing MMA, not boxing, right? They were doing MMA.
Yeah, MMA.
Okay.
Then we had the 4-ounce gloves on.
Wow.
And we were boom, boom.
And you
I
had
was
no
like, this
idea
is
about
awesome.
what MMA was?
No.
Never saw it on TV?
My dad showed me these old Pride fight, and he was like, look at these dudes. They're beating the crap out of each other. It was Wanderlei Silva and someone else. It might have been Rampage. And they were just boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, I would never do that, Dad. Why are you even showing me this? And then, like, that night, I found the martial arts dude to bring me into martial arts to learn how to fight, because I was going to go work in the jails, and I didn't want to be like just get beat up in there.
Right.
So I went into the martial arts gym and then came home, and I was like, hey, Dad, I think I might try to do that stuff.
Wow.
And then, it happened.
And what is
Now
your
look at me, I'm here.
Yeah, what does your dad think about your career now? Is he supportive of it?
100%. Man, he tries to tell me game plans and stuff. I love him. He's hilarious. He wants me to foot stomp. So if you ever see me a foot stomp anybody, that goes to my dad right there.
Okay, just no soccer kicks in the UFC. You know that.
I know. I'm trying to find a way to do it around the new rules, because if you hold their feet up, then it's only, they're standing. It's like they're on their hands, their feet, but they're on their hands.
Yeah.
So I asked the ref, can I kick him in the face if I have him in a wheelbarrow position? And I got a yes.
You got
I've been working on that.
Wow.
So when you see that, I'm gonna be the first wheelbarrow head kick.
Wait, who said yes though?
What fight was it? When I was gonna fight Tim Means in Wichita.
Okay, the ref said yes?
Yeah.
Wow.
I asked him specifically.
I
And
guess
he
you
said,
could kick the
yeah.
body, you know that, right?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
plan on that.
Yeah.
That one I want to knee him in the ribs from the wheelbarrow.
Right.
Ooh, right in the floor rib. That would I'd get somebody.
And you said you were going to work in the jail, like what, like as a corrections officer?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna do.
Oh my.
Never again.
No. Did you ever try it?
No.
Okay. It's a tough job.
I just went to the MMA class.
Yeah.
And I was like, not gonna be a cop. Bye bye.
So when you first were introduced to it, how long before you actually had your first fight?
3 months.
3 months. Wow. So what did you do? Like now this became your job. What did you do to support yourself?
I did landscaping
Okay.
for 8 years. The first 8 years of my career, I did landscaping every day, full time. I told my wife once we got married, she didn't have to work anymore. So we got settled. We got a house, got everything situated to where I was making good money doing landscaping. And then I'd make extra money fighting. And she just took care of the kids, and then we started having a bunch of kids.
Wow.
Started our life.
How many kids do you have?
So, I have 5 kids.
5
I have
kids.
4 out, 1 in the oven. Yes, sir.
I saw. I was going to ask if you were about to have your first, because I saw a photo of your wife on your Instagram. She's pregnant. This will be your 5th or 6th?
5th.
Oh,
This is going to be number 5.
Wow.
It's coming in December.
Congratulations.
So that's why thank you so much. That's why I'm not too iffy about fight. I'm a little iffy about fighting in December because I got a baby coming. I'm not missing my baby's birth.
No, for sure. Now, what's the breakdown in terms of sex? How many boys? How many girls?
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Okay, and what's the new one? Do you know?
Yeah. No, we're doing a surprise.
Oh, I like it. This is the first time you're doing surprise? You've done surprise every single time?
No, we did surprise just the last one.
Okay, why'd you switch it up?
So, just because we knew we had 2 girls, we had a boy, and then we were like, all right, whatever's coming next is here. And then boy came, and then this one just came out of nowhere.
Wow, this was a bit of a surprise, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
A big surprise.
5.
I've been just like, oh, when's this kid coming out? Ah.
Where's that music coming from? Do you hear that? What is this? Okay. I don't know what that was. Wait, now it's back again. Someone play. I don't think I hear Niko, but I hear this weird banjo music in my ear. Niko, do you hear that? Okay, someone's playing a prank on us because I don't hear him anymore, but I hear the music. What's happening there? Okay. No, I lost him. I don't know what just happened. But now the banjo music is back. Oh, there he is. He's back. Niko, did you hear that? That's never happened before. I don't know what just happened.
That was awesome. I want that song.
Yeah, so do I. I guess I thought it was someone in the back being very festive because you were about to have your 5th child. I mean, it's a miracle.
Oh no, it's no one here. It's just me and my
Oh no, in our back. In our back.
Oh.
Well, that's amazing. 5 children. Wow, I can't even imagine. And what's the age range?
7, 6,
oh my.
4, 1.5, and in the oven.
My gosh, total chaos at your house, right?
Yeah, that's why my fight style is chaos.
Yeah, I respect it. Does the 7-year-old understand what you do?
All of them understand what I do.
Okay. Are they fans?
They all train too.
Really?
Oh yeah, they beat me up daily.
Do you bring them to your fight?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Not yet. I want to bring them to one, but it's a lot of airplane tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring them to this one because my wife was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got your hands full. Well, it's great to have you on the show, my man, and you're doing great things. It's always a lot of fun to watch you compete, and I personally would love to see that fight against Mike Perry, and I think Perry wants it as well. I don't know what the problem is. Let's make it happen, right?
Hey, let's make it happen in 2020, baby. I'm ready.
There's a backstory, as you said, a backstory dating back to the regional days. So I mean, this is a great fight.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
Like 2015, 16.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put in a good word.
For a while.
Yeah.
He's known me for a while too. So, like I said, I don't have nothing against you. I don't know how you take this, but I just want to fight.
Fair enough. Sometimes it's all about that. Just that and only that. Niko, all the best to you and good luck to you and your wife on the upcoming delivery.
Thank you so much for having me on there. God bless everyone. Praise God and be good. Woo!
Yes, sir. There he is. Niko, the hybrid Price. What a great character. What a great win last Saturday in Tampa over one James Vick. All right. Now let's move along to our next guest. Looking forward to talking to this man. He's a hard guy to get in contact with these days. He's very busy doing a lot of great things. He's a mensch. In fact, he was featured on SportsCenter late last week. Here's what they had to say.
Bellator fighter Dillon Danis has a reputation for trouble outside of the cage, but earlier this week he did something everyone can support and get behind. A video surfaced last week online of a Baltimore boy getting bullied in a school bathroom. Danis was one of the many who were disgusted by that video, and he reached out on social media to offer the kid free jiu-jitsu lessons, which I think is amazing. Yep. Even arranged for an Uber to pick him up and take him to the gym.
All very cool.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Danis posted this picture of the young man before his first martial arts lesson and wrote, "We're all in this together. Let's go, champ." Good on both guys. I hate bullies.
I cannot stand a bully.
There he is, Dillon Danis. I thought he was going to be there. Dillon, well done, my man.
No? Am I on?
There
Oh,
he
you go.
is.
Okay, now
There
it's
he
working.
is. I thought you were supposed to be
I
a
was
bad
confused for a
guy.
second.
I thought you were supposed to be an evil person.
I'm still a bad guy, but when a kid is getting bullied or someone that can't defend themselves is getting picked on, I feel like, that needs to change. So it's totally different than what I do in my career.
So tell me how this happened. You saw this video online, and then how did you get in contact with the kid?
Yeah, so I got the video. I don't know, someone sent it to me, but then I posted it, and then a lot of people were tagging the kid in my video over and over again. So I wanted to make sure it was really him, because nowadays everybody's just kind of like, you don't know who to trust and then what's what. So I DM'd the kid, and it ended up being him. Me and him were talking. He was a little bit hesitant and scared in the beginning, which I understand. Obviously, he's probably going through so much right now, and like it's going viral and stuff like that. And I reached out to him, and I was like, hey man, I want you to go to the gym. And he was like, that'd be so awesome. And then I offered him an Uber to the gym and back home, and he said, okay, let's do it. So I arranged a session with one of my friends that has a gym in Baltimore, and I got him the Uber there. He ended up training. I don't know. I think he really wanted to do boxing, maybe. Jiu-jitsu might have been a little bit different for him, but apparently he really liked the class. Me and him still been in contact. I've been trying to get him to go back and stay steady with martial arts, but yeah, it basically just happened like that.
Well, how old is he?
14?
14. Did you talk to his parents?
No, I did not talk to his parents. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know.
You just went straight to the kid, and he did it on his own.
Yeah, he did it all on his own.
Wow, that is amazing. And so you obviously weren't there because you don't live in Baltimore. But what did your friends say about him?
He said he was a little shy going to the gym. That's just anybody going to a new martial arts gym. I was shy going into my first gym when I was 15 or 14. So, I knew he was going to be a little bit shy, but I was very surprised he put the gi on. He had no problems putting the gi on, jumped right into the class. And one thing about martial arts that I really liked is, as a kid, all the good people in the gym that help you and motivate you. And, it's actually, I don't know, when I was younger, I felt like hanging out with older people was actually better for me than the kids in my school. I feel like they got me more. I feel like it was a little bit mature for my age at the time. And, like the guys at the gym always, would help me, motivate me, tell me stories. And I always liked that part of martial arts. So I feel like he had a lot of good people around him and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping he goes back and sticks with it.
Well, I feel like there's a trend lately. I don't know if you've noticed this. You probably have since you've been involved in this, where people are posting these videos of kids getting beaten up at school. It's a disgusting thing. Have you seen, I feel like this has become like a thing lately where people are doing this, like kids ganging up on one kid. This was just one, but it's like I've seen this at least like 5 times over the past month, and I don't understand why it's a thing.
I feel like it's been around for a year. For probably since, beginning of time in schools, but nowadays with phones and social media, I feel like it's starting to come out now. And, I think it needs to get in the right people's hands. I feel like a lot of people promote it to promote themselves and then to promote other things. I think using the stuff for good is where it needs to be. I got a lot of criticism for posting it and doing this and, like good gestures to be behind good closed doors. And, I believe in that too. But this kid got humiliated online in front of millions of people. So why not have his back in front of millions of people and make him feel like, we have or let him know that we have everybody behind him. And if you do all these good gestures behind closed doors, if I did this behind closed doors, a lot of the victims from bullying and all the people that are going through bullying are not going to see that there's not going to see that martial arts can change their life, or not know that there's someone to reach out to, or there's ways of getting out of it. So I understood the criticism about me putting it out there, but I feel like me putting it out there is going to be a lot better in the long run than not putting it out there.
Yeah, I saw people criticizing you for that, but I feel like there's also something to be said for trying to inspire people to do good as well. Donations and things like that, I think, yes, at times, more often than not, should be anonymous. But we also, if it's becoming a thing where it's becoming cool to post these kinds of videos, we need to make it a thing to be cool to help people out as well. And so I give you a lot of credit for that. Do you know why he was getting bullied? Do you know why he was getting beat up like that?
He's a little bit one-word answers on me, so he really doesn't tell me.
I saw in your exchange, it was all one-word answers.
I'm some people are like, oh, he's not grateful, this and that. He doesn't want to be helped, but I see someone that has gone through something, and comes from a different kind of life than I come from, so he's just a little bit hesitant with, reaching out and talking too much. And I understand that, I don't hold that against him, so I just feel like, the more I help him, the more I talk to him, I've been talking to him on a daily basis, reaching out to him and just trying to, talk more and breaking him out of his shell and whatever he feels more comfortable with. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people just give up on people and just say, no, he doesn't deserve this, or he's not grateful, or he doesn't care, but I kind of always try to find the good in people and work it out with him in a certain sense. Like, I know how it is to be that age and go through stuff, and, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, how does it work when you see all these other videos, right? Like,
yeah. And
right.
I was going to say, now I've been getting tons of messages, videos. Oh my God. I mean, you don't understand. And the thing is too, you don't know who's being honest, who wants to get famous, who wants to do this. And like, you just don't know like who's lying, who's not lying. So it's very hard. I'm not going to lie. So I don't know. And that's the thing I'm trying to figure out, because I never dealt with this before.
Right. And you're getting all kinds of attention but yeah, I've heard that people like stage these things to get notoriety. So, but I've seen you post them, and I think it's great. Henry Gracie, I saw posting about it as well. I think it's great that the jiu-jitsu guys are doing this in particular, because.
And one thing too is like, I don't know if you listened to Michael Bisping's podcast, but he kept like making fun of like me saying that the kid needed jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu want to help him in a fight, in a street fight, and all this stuff. And like Michael Bisping's a world champion, a martial artist his whole life, and he should understand that martial art isn't all about defending yourself. It's about building confidence, discipline. It has so much more than just using it in a street fight or in a fight. And I thought someone like him would understand that. And it was actually pretty embarrassing to see him talk about martial arts like that. And yeah, I don't know.
He was criticizing you for this?
Yeah, he was like, oh, what's this guy going to do with like 8 guys jumping him, like break his arm in an arm bar? He's going to get knocked out. Like saying stupid stuff like this. Like the kid doesn't need jiu-jitsu, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like that rubbed me the wrong way, especially coming from someone like him who martial arts made him a world champion and done so much great in his life. Martial arts isn't just about fighting. It's about discipline, confidence, respect, and it builds you into someone that nothing else can.
You tweeted a couple of days ago, the ultimate aim of martial arts is not having to use them. I thought that was a very good one on your part. You also tweeted that you were thinking of starting a nonprofit organizations for kids who are bullied to help them learn martial arts for free. Is this a serious thing that you're thinking of doing?
Yeah, I've been talking to a ton of people that have started nonprofits before. I never started one before. I didn't know how much goes into it. So I've been working with some people and seeing how it goes, and like learning the numbers and learning all this stuff, like what goes into it. And so I might have thought it was a little bit easier than what it comes out to be, but we're working on it now.
And is this like a personal thing for you? Like, were you bullied as a kid? Is that why you feel like at this stage in your life you need to give back? Why does this mean so much to you?
Yeah, I was definitely bullied as a kid, but I wouldn't say I was bullied like how that kid was bullied, getting jumped by 6-7 guys, in the bathroom. But, I was definitely bullied as a kid, and I feel like sometimes mentally, I don't know how to say, sometimes like mental bullying is worse than physical bullying. So, yeah, I definitely I definitely gone through some stuff, I think we all have, I'm not special in any sense. I feel like everybody's gone through people, making fun of them or stuff like that, or bullying them. And that, yeah, that did happen to me, Basically, the reason I started training was because I had a bunch of older kids picking on me, and I wanted to learn how to defend myself. So I didn't have to feel scared anymore. I didn't have to feel like I didn't want to go to school. So once I learned how to defend myself, that confidence that grew in me, and people that train martial arts, they just have a certain confidence that when you see them, you're like, okay, that guy carries himself differently, and no one will mess with you after that. So yeah, definitely been through a lot of stuff.
Good on you, my man. It's great to see you doing this. Now, I also want to ask you about some other things going on in your actual career. First off, how's the knee?
It's getting better. It's there. I've been training a lot. Right before ADCC, I hurt my back really bad. I couldn't even walk, and I think it's just been training. I've been training for so long now. It's almost 11 years doing jiu-jitsu, so my body's just banged up, and trying to learn how to be a professional athlete instead of just training and not taking care of your body. Professional athletes, they do all the right things, eat healthy, do all the physical therapy and stuff. So I think I'm starting to get into that point in my career, working on my body and my longevity in the sport.
So is that why you pulled out of ADCC?
Yeah, it was bad, man. I couldn't even stand up. I don't know how to explain. I don't know what happened to me, but it was just like in a scramble, and I ended up falling to the ground. and like my back leg locked up. It was really bad. I couldn't walk, and I was stuck in bed, and it was terrible.
Wow. And how does it feel now?
Yeah. It's definitely a lot better now. I was doing the right things, going to the physical therapist, stretching, and trying to work on just, I don't know, man. I think it's just like so long of training that my body is just like, I don't know how to explain it.
I know that was something that you wanted to do, ADCC. How tough was it to pull out?
One of the toughest things in my whole life, man. Like, especially when you get to watch people that won it that shouldn't have won it if I was there. So that's one of the toughest things.
Like who?
Especially watching it. You guys know who I mean.
No, I don't.
I don't say names. I don't like to give people that don't deserve it credit, but I still feel like I'm the best grappler in the world in MMA and in jiu-jitsu. So people will see. There's nothing that I haven't said that hasn't came true. So I'm gonna come back to ADCC. I'll come back to grappling, and prove what I believe.
Now, as far as the MMA career is concerned, will you fight this year, or do you think you're done for this year?
I definitely want to fight this year. I was trying to get on the Japan card. I want to do the Ryzen versus Japan. I thought that would be cool. We're still working on the fight with Jake Paul, the boxing fight. So I want that to happen really bad, and we'll see. I definitely want to fight before the year's over. I might get that. So me and Ben Askren have been talking about the grappling match. So after he fights Damian Maia, so I'm not sure. Let's see if he doesn't take any damage. Maybe we'll do that before the end of the year.
Okay, so there was a lot there. Where do things stand with the Japan fight?
Coker told me that he sent the names over. They're talking about if they have someone to match me, to fight me, and stuff like that. So I guess it's not just Bellator. Ryzen has to go with it and see who they have and stuff like that. Okay,
now this Jake Paul thing, you're very into this Jake Paul idea, fighting this guy, this YouTube. What is he, like a YouTube influencer or something like that? Why do you want to fight him so badly?
No, it's funny. In the beginning, he called me out. Like, everybody thinks I called him out. Like, I want to call out a YouTuber. But in the beginning, he called me out. Like, he wanted to fight me, this and that. And then I kind of just I was like, whatever, like, I'm not going to fight a YouTuber. And then, I don't know, the money came into part. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just shut this motherfucker up. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about it lately, and I'm down to do it. They're offering me $4 or $5 million for a boxing fight against some pussy that can't even defend himself. So I'm down to do it. I mean, if you talk a big game and say you could fight me, you'll beat me and stuff like that. We'll see if you could do it.
Wait, so who's offering you $4 to $5 million?
When I talked to Jake Paul, they said that's the last one they made $8 million, so they split $4 between each other. And he was like, obviously, like, this fight will be a lot bigger. Let's do it. And I was like, all right, I'm done.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I would imagine that's more than what you make in Bellator.
It's close, but it's fine. There's a lot. The competitions. I mean, I'm fighting guys that are martial artists for their whole lives. I'm not fighting some, pussy YouTuber that thinks he could fight.
But wouldn't it make more sense to have a grappling match? Like, doesn't he have a history in wrestling or something? Didn't he wrestle as a kid?
Yeah, no, I mean, that wouldn't even be a match. It would just be me freaking abusing him. But with the boxing match, he thinks I don't have everybody thinks I don't have striking and this and that. So
yeah,
I guess let's see. I'm down to do it. I mean, I think it'll be fun. I mean, me and him have been having some back and forth, and I called him out on everything. I've been saying everything about him. So either it's going to happen in the ring, or it's going to happen in the street, or it's going to happen at his house. So
yeah, you're even getting his wife involved.
He started that with me. I usually don't go for wives, but he came with my girlfriend. So you come with my girlfriend, I'm going right for your wife.
Well, what do you mean he came for your girlfriend?
He said something like he hooked up with her in the past. It's just a lie, he was just saying stuff like that. And then I have pictures with his wife and stuff like that. My. So me and her had a good night out. Back in New York. So.
Stop it! What are you talking?
He knows that. I mean, I posted it out there.
Sure. But it's not. This event is happening next month, or in a couple of weeks, right? It's not going to happen for.
I don't even need to train for it. Just throw me in there. I'll be half drunk and still fight him and knock him out. I don't need to be trained for that. But if he doesn't want to do it, then we could do it. We could start our own event. I mean, me and him have a big enough name where we could just make our own main event boxing thing. We don't need anybody else. Let's just put it on me and him.
So the last time Ben Askren was on my show, he actually seemed quite interested. It was like the first time he was actually warming up to the idea of competing against you. Do you think this could happen?
That's real. So even before he came on your show, Flow Grappling came to my gym. They texted me like, we need to talk in person. I was like, I need to talk in person. I was like, you can just tell me on the phone? And they're like, no, we need to talk in person. So they showed up at the gym. They said that Ben Askren called Flow Grappling personally on the phone and said, I want to grapple Dillon Danis. Let's set it up. And I said, okay, let's do it. I don't care. I'm down. So they were working on setting up some press conferences and building up a big event around it. And I think that would be awesome. But the only thing that kind of sucks is that he's gonna get submitted by Damian Maia. But we'll see what happens.
Oh, I was just going to ask you that. He's fighting this Saturday against Maia. I'm sure it's a fight you're interested in. Forget about your whatever issue you may have with Askren. Just, two amazing grapplers, ground fighters, a lot of fun. You think Maia actually subs him? He's never been subbed before. You think he subs him?
Yeah. If I was, well, I am a betting man, but if I had to bet, I would put I say Damian taps him for sure.
Damian taps him. Wow, early? You think he gets him early, or it takes a little time?
I say second round submission.
Wow, that's pretty early.
Yeah. And think about it, too. Damian has way better striking than him, so he's fucked. I mean, he's not going to beat him on the ground. He's going to take him down and hold him. He's not going to hold Damian. Damian's definitely going to tap him. There's a video back in the day of Jake and Ben Askren training, and Jake was tapping him over and over again. Him training with Marcelo, he's very overrated. So Damian, I for sure will tap him. He's fought way better competition. He's a way better black belt,
So if Damian submits him on Saturday, does that take the appeal away from you? Do you want to be the first guy to submit him? So,
Yeah. I mean, if he comes out and begs me and stuff like that, then maybe I'll do it. But I don't know. Nowadays it's so hard to find someone that's on the level of me, in popularity wise and fighting wise. So, if he comes out and begs me and he's nice about it, I'll probably do it.
Sure. And what about Kevin Lee? Is that dead? I was kind of into that one.
But no, I put it on my Twitter. He said the only way he'll do it if it's combat jiu-jitsu, and he knows that UFC wouldn't let him do that because it's technically MMA. Because once you start punching people legally, but I was always down for it. And then he was like, "Man, if we fought real jiu-jitsu, he probably leg locked me or something like that. So I need to be able to hit him." So he just went back on what he was saying. But I'm down to do it. Everything I've ever said, everybody's ever turned down or ran away from it. So I'm down to do it. I don't care. You could show up at my gym. We'll do it tomorrow. Doesn't matter.
Now, what's this picture that you posted, you and Nick Diaz? What's that all about?
Someone tagged me in that, and they were saying Nick might come to Bellator or something like that. I was like, yeah, let's do it. That'd be awesome. Someone was saying the same thing with Kobe, saying that if Kobe loses, Dana's gonna cut him and put him to he'll come to Bellator because he was saying he was gonna hit him in the head with the belt.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking that'd be cool. Let him come to Bellator and I'll fight him.
Okay, wow. You're so, just some of your, you do like to troll people, right? You will admit that, right? What would MMA be without me? And these tweets that you put out, you enjoy doing this, right? Riling, and they take the bait every time. The comments are just people.
I don't know what trolling is. I don't know what you're talking about. Just saying how I feel.
Right. That's right. And in the comments, you're all.
It's the same thing when you put me Dillon Danis you on the show, and everybody's like, oh my god, Dillon Danis. Then I'm the highest watch one on the show. It's
right.
What the hell are you guys talking about? I'm the only one that brings excitement to MMA, jiu-jitsu. I mean, come on, let's be honest. What other I don't know. It's just stupid. I don't even need to say it anymore because it's just stupid. Everybody knows who's the man and who fucking brings all the eyes and all that. So you can complain all you want that I'm on your show, but I'm the highest one that's get watched every single time.
Well, you were supposed to be on a couple weeks ago, and then you ghosted me, and I wasn't happy about that. You know this, right?
Just gotta let you know who the A side is,
I appreciate that. By the way, was it Gordon Ryan that you were referring to before?
I'm referring to everybody.
Okay.
I want to verse them all. After ADCC, a couple places reached out what do you want to verse? I want to go against Buchecha. I want to go against them all. So. I'm the one that at any weight fought. I'm the one that at middleweight and lightweight was fighting absolutes every single year. So I go against everybody. I go against everybody, gi and no gi. All these guys either do one or the other. They do this and that. They need certain rule sets. I'm the one that my whole career never complained about rule sets, never complained about gi, no gi, and now I'm fighting MMA. So there's only one me.
Are you still the highest paid fighter in Bellator, or has that changed since the last time we talked about that?
No, my pay keeps going up. No one is coming close to me.
Okay.
I was actually surprised when they said that Chris Cyborg was the highest paid women's fighter ever. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm happy for her. That's cool. She's part of Paradigm too and stuff like that. So I was very happy about that. But no one comes close to me. Come on. My second fight ever, I'm the co-main event in Madison Square Garden.
Right.
With the crowd going nuts. The whole place didn't even make a noise until I came out.
Well, being co-main event doesn't always mean that, Greg Hardy's been co-main event too, and he doesn't have a lot of fights, so.
Yeah, but come on. Look at the last fight. The guy took an inhaler in between rounds. He barely breathed.
Hey, can I? Okay, let me get your take on this before I let you go. I asked Joe Lauzon about it. Charles Rosa, when he got the sub, did you see he had his feet on the cage? I'm trying to see, should this have been illegal in your opinion? Did that help him? Or do you think that, I saw,
helped.
It did help?
Yeah. I mean, I would say it definitely helps because you're not going to be able to pry the legs off as easy if he has his toes in the cage. But, yeah, I mean, probably should have been disqualified for that. But I guess stuff happens. It's a fight. So, I mean, the referee didn't call it, so I guess it's legal, right?
Yep. He didn't see it.
I was happy for Joe Lauzon too. He had a really good win, huh?
He did. Amazing. I saw you give him props on Twitter as well. One of the legends of the game had a losing streak, so it was good to see
I ever tell you
him.
about that? When I versed them in that grappling match, you know, they offered me, I was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson, and then they came with Joe Lauzon, and back then, Tony Ferguson didn't really have a name. Yeah, and I was like, I'll go with Joe Lauzon, because Joe Lauzon was like a legend even back then.
Wow.
And I was like, I was like, Tony Ferguson, I was like, that guy like fights on the prelims. He's a purple belt. And it's funny how things come around now, huh?
Wow. And what year was this?
This was 2014, maybe.
And who won between you and Joe?
I won, yeah. I just put it on my Twitter. I submitted him.
I just wanted you to say.
Look, back then in 2014, I was still calling the shots. They were asking me who I wanted to fight, and I said Tony Ferguson. I said that guy's on the prelims. I'm not fighting him. So it's funny. Like many years down the line, I'm still making all the calls.
By the way, what are you celebrating? I see a balloon over there behind you. What are you celebrating?
That was my girl's birthday.
Oh,
wow. So I had to go all out, you know?
Yeah.
Hopeless romantic.
I saw, you had all kinds of gifts for her, balloons. You're a real softie.
Yeah. You know, it's perfect.
You're in love. I see it in your eyes.
Try, man. Try.
Well done. You're making your mom very proud, Dillon. I knew you had it in you. And I don't believe everyone who says all these mean and nasty things about you. Good job helping out that kid and trying to be a positive influence and everything that you're writing about as far as martial arts and the potential charity and all that stuff. Well done, my man. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. And hopefully the back and knee feel good soon, and we'll see you back in there soon enough.
Thanks for having me, Ariel. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Dillon Danis, the one and only, doing some great things for the youngsters. One of my honorable mention, by the way. You can check that out each and every week on the facebook.com/ESPN MMA page, where we highlight the good people doing great things in the world of MMA. All right, I'm excited about this. Last Thursday, I had an opportunity to sit down with Triple H and Tyson Fury. Yes, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, a.k.a. Paul Levesque, WWE executive. Tyson Fury, as you may know, going to make his way over to pro wrestling later this month, along with Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez competing against Brock Lesnar, rematch of their fight at UFC 121. And Tyson Fury is going up against Braun Strowman. So I had the opportunity. They were in New York. Had the opportunity to sit down and talk to them about how this deal with Tyson came about. The deal with Cain Velasquez, first time I ever met Triple H. I'll give you some thoughts on that on the back end of this interview. But first, here's my conversation with Triple H and Tyson Fury about Tyson Fury's pro wrestling debut on October 31st.
October 31st, Saudi Arabia, the Gypsy King, the lineal boxing heavyweight champion of the world, will be making his WWE debut going up against Braun Strowman. How cool is this? We're talking to the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury himself, and Triple H, WWE executive. Thank you very much for doing this, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll start with you. How did this all come about? How did you guys reach out to him and get this deal done?
Well, I'm a big boxing fan to start with. A few months ago, Top Rank, ESPN getting together. I was at the Lomachenko fight. It was right around the same time that he kind of signed with Top Rank. And it sort of put the bug in my head back again. I've been a fan of his for a long time and seen him and thought, incredible entertainer. He's custom made for what we do in some way. When this opportunity came up, we were just sort of actually reaching out to see if there'd be interest in the future and what that opportunity might be. When I was at the Lomachenko fight, like I said, is where it kind of popped into my head. So we've been thinking about it for a little while. And then this opportunity came up. We reached out. He said, this actually works out perfect for me. The timing is great. And here we are,
Did you, have any reservations? You're coming off a fight, the big Wilder fight coming up in February. Maybe this isn't the best time?
No, this is perfect timing for me. This is something I wanted to do for a long time. So having the opportunity arise and being in a position where I've just had a big cut, and I'm not boxing training at the moment, this is perfect timing for me. Everyone's like, oh no, you can't do this. You've got a monster fight coming up around the corner. I'm like, what will be, and I'm going to take one fight at a time. And for now, I'm concentrating on Braun Strowman and nothing else.
Is this just a one-match deal, or is there a longer deal at play here?
Well, I think when you're the type of entertainer he is, like I said, it's easy to see how he fits in what we do. And getting him down to the Performance Center in Orlando where we train, it's easy to see how this athletically for him is just such an easy fit. We'll see, like for right now, like he said, it's one fight at a time. So I think you do this Braun Strowman in Saudi. I look forward to supporting him down the road in February, hopefully with the Wilder fight. And we'll see where it goes from there. Like you said, when you have this level of personality, this level of athleticism, he can do anything he wants. So if the opportunity's there and he wants to be a part of it, we'd love to have him.
Prior to this happening, have you ever trained in pro wrestling before?
Never pro wrestling training before, ever. But I've been a lifelong fan of WWE. And I've got a brother who's 6'6" and weighs about 400 pounds. And we wrestle like all the time from being 10 years old right up to being 30. And we don't have a time limit. There's no holds barred. We just beat the shit out of each other like for an hour, non-stop wrestling.
Who was your favorite growing up?
I had he was one of my favourites. This
You're
guy
just saying
right
that because
here.
he's sitting
no,
right here.
I'd say that anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, I have quite a lot of favourites.
So in Orlando, you've already begun training. You're at the Performance Center. What's that like?
I've been working out down there. It's a surreal experience. Like coming into this, not having it, I didn't know what to expect. Now I really know it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. People say to me, "Oh, it's all fake." I said, "Well, you come here, you train for a couple of days, and you see how fake it is." I'm getting thrown around that ring. It's as hard as that.
Yeah.
The ropes are like barbed wire. I'm cut to bits. My back's in bits. I feel sore in places I didn't think I could be sore in. And the training's absolutely fantastic. But with all new relationships, I'm thriving. It's like when you go out on that first date with this new chick you just met, everything's like, oh my God, yeah. And this is how it is. It's a new thing for me. So I'm really, really enjoying the experience. And I'm just so thankful that I've been given the opportunity in this stage of my career.
I think what's cool for me is to see somebody. I've been around athletes enough my entire career now, and my job in WWE is recruiting athletes from around the world, whether that's NFL or any place else. I trained Floyd Mayweather a few years ago when he wrestled Big Show at WrestleMania and got that opportunity to see elite level athletes. And there's a difference between somebody that's kind of at the top of their sport, but then like the very elite level. There's a different spark in their eye. When you put them in the ring and everything else goes away, something could blow up over here and there's just nothing happening. There's just this focus and this drive. I watched him walk in the Performance Center that first day, and 5 minutes after he was in the ring, he was like in the zone. And I thought, wow, this is gonna be something special, because he is that next level. He is that Floyd Mayweather. He is the Ronda. I saw that in her when she did this. There's only a certain very ultra elite that happens to, and he's one of them. And this is going to be October 30th. It's going to be something special. This match with Braun Strowman, I think people are going to be shocked at what he does, because he's not just taking this and going in there, I'm going to do one or two things and just get out of there, try not to get hurt and get a payday or whatever. He's going to try to make something special out of this, and it shows, and it's going to be awesome.
So this event is a big deal for pro wrestling fans, big deal for boxing fans, also a big deal for MMA fans, because Cain Velasquez is making his WWE debut. And when I first heard that you guys were all talking, I was like, okay, this sounds like WrestleMania. Like Tyson Fury is a WrestleMania kind of fight. Cain, WrestleMania. Why is it happening so soon? Why is it happening in 2 weeks? It seems like it's happening sooner than maybe in the old days you would build to something that's, a couple months. Why is it happening in 2 weeks?
I think the timing of it is right. Like he said, when we reached out to him, this was the timing for him.
Okay.
I think we were reaching out in sort of a, hey, what if? And he was like, the timing is now, and we had an event now, and I don't know that we would have done two in the exact same time, but it worked. Things happen for a reason. So. Yeah. It worked out perfect for him, and we were like, well, let's just go with it. We can make this happen now. We can make it happen quickly, and we can move and make this epic blockbuster event, like you said, with Cain and Brock. And the timing is right with that, too, as well. Cain is somebody that looked into this a while ago. He came to the Performance Center, tried out with us, but he still had the fight game in his head. And I feel like you either do this or you don't do this. And he was looking to do this long term, but he hadn't put that away yet. Now he's kind of got to the point where he did a few matches. He trained a little bit, did a few matches, and he got the bug for it. And now I can see it in Cain's eyes, like he really wants this. So it's a different conversation. Now he's stepped away from MMA, and he's fully dedicated to what we do. So that's a different conversation, because he was looking to fully make the transition. This was the opportunity, right place, right time, right athlete, all of it. You know what I mean? Just fell into our lap.
2 true or false questions. Is it true Frank Warren didn't know that this was happening until he saw you on television? Is that true?
That's true.
You didn't give him the heads up?
I didn't, because I wanted it to be a big surprise.
Okay. Was he mad?
He was mad.
Okay.
He was quite pissed, to be fair.
Really?
He said to me, I think this is a really bad idea. You could get injured. Braun Strowman's a massive guy. What happens if the cut reopens? What happens if you get injured shoulders or legs or whatever? But I said, this is a risk that, what happens if I go out the front door and get run over by a bus in the morning? If we lived our lives on what if, we would never do anything in our lives. I think you've got to take the bull by the horns and get on with it and enjoy it, because, like I say, these are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. I'm sat here with one of my childhood heroes. Like, it's surreal for me. And to go backstage and meet Hulk Hogan and all the rest of the guys, The Rock and everybody, it's been a fantastic thing for me. And it was an opportunity that I did not want to slip. But Frank, along with my management team, trainer, father, brothers, everybody was like, concentrate on your job. You are not a showman. You're not a movie star. I was like, try telling me that.
Is it true you're making $15 million for this?
Listen, I can't comment on
That's what everyone's talking about in the UK.
So I've read. I've read this, but I don't know where that information's come from.
Okay.
But I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Okay. Do you
because I don't want to breach my contract.
Okay.
It is amazing how much people count other people's money, isn't it?
Yeah.
In today's world. Yeah.
It's all over the news that because it seems like in the past the athletes who came over, the celebrities, didn't make that much.
Yeah. Look, WWE is. You could make an argument that right now, if you said what are the big 4 sports in America, and you could make an argument with that we're right there. This is a moment in time, and to his point, I'm not going to confirm or deny, but the positioning of what we are is no different than any other sport. We're not the size of the NFL or anything like that, but what we do is up there.
And also, I just want to say one thing as well. You say none of the other boxers who came into it made none of that type of money, but none of the other boxers who came into it with a lineal heavyweight current world champion, and also they're not the Gypsy King either.
Right, that's right.
So let's put that into play too.
Very good point. I know this is your 4th.
You want the king, you got to pay for the king.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds like a confirmation right here. This is your 4th event in Saudi Arabia, correct? I know it's been somewhat of a polarizing topic. This time, are you getting any pushback from any of your guys about going back there?
No, I think as time has gone on, the truth is we're an entertainment company, and politics, everything else aside, we have millions of fans in the Middle East that love what we do. They love the product. They love to be entertained by us. This is an opportunity for us to go there like we've been doing for years and years and years, and go there and entertain our fan base. And I think that our talent especially have seen that when they go there. What they do is they go there and they see an event just like the other events they do. They see tens of thousands of fans in a stadium going crazy for what they do. That's what we do. We entertain, and that's we're not in it for politics, anything else. It's about going there and entertaining our fan base, and there's millions of our fans there.
Did you have any reservations?
No, I'm a prize fighter. I'm an entertainer, like Triple H just said. I go where I have to go. Like I say, I'm going over there to put on a show for the fans around the world, boxing fans and wrestling fans alike, and every other contact sport fans there is.
You're a historian. Obviously, you've been in this business for a long time. Could I ask you off the top of your head, I know I'm putting you on the spot, the greatest sort of athlete cameo, Lawrence Taylor, Mike Tyson, Floyd, who did it best in your opinion? What's the level that he needs to reach to sort of surpass, in your mind, putting you on the spot right here? Who came over and really wowed you more so than the rest?
I think Lawrence Taylor did, but I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Floyd.
Floyd?
It was a whole nother level of dedication to it in a short period of time, and he just wanted it to be epic, like he does. It's funny in my mind, the comparison of the two, just in their dedication to it and their like laser focus on it and wanting it to be something special. I think he really did go into WrestleMania, and it's arguable in that show that like they kind of stole a lot of the thunder in that event. Like the spectacle was on them. So you could make that argument that it was the greatest performance from a crossover. I think it's to be challenged here very shortly.
Is February 22nd a done deal with Deontay?
As far as we know, but the uncertainty with boxing is Deontay's got to beat Luis Ortiz.
Okay.
And Ortiz is a tough customer. Nothing's given in life. So one step at a time, one fight at a time. I've got to deal with Braun Strowman. He's got to deal with Luis Ortiz. And we'll see what the future holds.
Have you erected a statue of that cut man who saved your fight? I mean, that was incredible stuff that he did in that fight against Otto Wallin. It was amazing to just watch him work in between the rounds. That was as riveting for me than the action itself.
That was an epic cut man.
Yes.
You know, Jorge Capitello, my compa, he's a top guy, and he saved my career with that massive 47 stitches.
Wow. And it's
inside
okay
and
now.
out. It seems to be okay. It's only been a month healing. I feel okay, but I've never took any punches to it. But I think in another few months I'm going to be back fine again, taking punches. But this is the hurt business. This is the fight game. And I always say you can't go swimming and not get wet. Everyone says, oh, the best thing about not having a cut is don't get one in the beginning. But I've been a professional for 11 years and I've only had 2 cuts in my life, so it's not that bad.
But let's take a look. You talk about that cut, though, and as much as it was to fix it, think about the epic performance to walk past that.
Oh, yeah.
47 stitches, can't see, can't, you know, all of that, but yet stay dominant the whole fight, because at any minute, if you're not dominant, they might stop this. But if you're in a dominant position, they're not going to stop it with a cut. But if you aren't, so he's got to stay dominant every step of the rest of that fight. That's a different game and a different level of athlete that can pull that out and do that.
Yeah.
Also wanted to ask you, it's been a tough time in the sport of boxing. On Wednesday, we found out about Patrick Day, unfortunately passing away, the 4th boxer in a little over 2 months. As one of the faces of boxing, and you're someone who goes in there and risks your life every time you go in there, what kind of feelings do you get when you see it? Like, what kind of reservations? How do you react? It's one thing for the media to react, pundits, but as an actual prize fighter himself, how do you react when you hear news like this?
First of all, condolences to the families who lost their loved ones. It's a tough game, you know. As prize fighters, we know what we're getting in for. Sort of, we know the risk element, but it's not really reality until something like this happens. And it's happened 3 or 4 times in the last few months around the world. And you know, the boxing community has really got together to show support to the families and to the friends who've lost their fighters and brothers and whoever they were related to. But it is kind of scary, you know. I go in there and I'm in the heavyweight division with the biggest punchers and the biggest guys out there. And, you know, one of my big rivals is Deontay Wilder, arguably one of the biggest punchers in heavyweight history. So I've got to look at this seriously and think, you know, what if it was me? Terrible times for the families and the people around them. But, you know, boxing has been regulated time and time again. We take medicals all the time, every single fight. We have brain scans, multiple brain scans per year, to be passed medically fit to do battle. So I just think it's one of these unfortunate circumstances, what's happened in recent times, and hopefully we don't see any more of it in any more recent times. But, you know, stuff like this happens now and again, and it's an absolute travesty.
We'll end on this, just a couple of true or false. All I need is true or false. True or false, Ronda Rousey will compete in WWE again.
True.
Matt Riddle will be champion this time next year in WWE on the big stage, on the big roster. Not trying to.
No, yeah, that's hard to say true or false, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of variables in that, yeah. But definitely has the potential to.
But you didn't give me a true or false.
I'll say true.
Okay. CM Punk will be in WWE again at some time.
Oof. It could be. You know, Vince will say it all the time. We're open for business. Past is past. Today's today. You never say never in WWE. So.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury and Cain Velasquez are about to compete in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Crown Jewel, October 31st on WWE Network, the debut of Tyson Fury going up against Braun Strowman, and also the debut of Cain Velasquez going up against Brock Lesnar, a rematch of a fight that happened almost 10 years ago at UFC 121.
All right, so there you have it. That was a lot of fun. First time I ever had the opportunity to talk to Triple H. I really enjoyed that. Afterwards, he actually invited me to the Performance Center. Said he'd give me a little behind-the-scenes tour of what they do over there. Said I could come check out NXT, all those places and more. But perhaps most interesting, afterwards we spoke a little longer. We were a little bit stressed for time. There was another taping that they had to get to. But I actually asked him about Daniel Cormier, because you'll recall a couple weeks ago I said, hey, if this whole Cain Velasquez to WWE thing doesn't result in Cormier coming over and tag teaming with Cain, this will all be for naught. And I asked him about DC, and he actually told me that he has talked to DC over the past few months/year, and feels like, unlike Cain right now, DC still has fight left in him, MMA fighting left in him. And he feels like once he gets that out of his system, much like Cain recently got it out of his system some way, somehow, then they can have some serious talks. But they've definitely tested the waters and brought up the subject, but they still feel like DC wants to fight, and we know DC wants to fight. He said it on this show. So I thought that was interesting. Also, for you long-time fans, I ran into Bob Arum in the back. I didn't even know he was going to be there, and I happened to see him. He was coming out of the restroom, and I asked him if he remembered me, and I'm not sure if he really did remember me, but I certainly remember him. If you don't know the story, back in, I don't know, 2009, I think it was, I interviewed him at Yankee Stadium prior to Manny Pacquiao versus Miguel Cotto, and at that time, UFC was coming up, and they were actually going head-to-head with a Mayweather fight. UFC 103 was going head-to-head with a Mayweather fight on pay-per-view, and it was somewhat uncommon for them to do this. And I asked him about the rise of MMA and the UFC in particular, and he had a lot of disparaging things to say about the sport. One of the first interviews that got me some attention, and this was actually my first time seeing him since. And so I just said hello and wondered if you remember me, but he's getting a little up there in age, and I don't know if he actually did, but he said he did. So it was nice to see him. It was fun, and I appreciate both Tyson and Triple H for giving me the time of day. I still think it's weird that it's happening in Saudi Arabia and it's happening so soon, but hey, it's happening October 31st. So if you're into that sort of thing, enjoy it. And by the way, all these people complaining, too much pro wrestling talk. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I give you a 3.5-hour show every single week, and that's just on Mondays. And like, if 20 minutes is going to be like a little bit, off the beaten path, but still in the combat sports world, I'm not talking about like NHL here. Chill out, all right? Enough of your complaints. Like, I see people, I'm done with this show. I'm not watching ever again. Good. Don't watch ever again. I don't care. And by the way, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You're still going to watch. And you probably love that interview. You're probably going to tell all your friends about it. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like it. I like it. A lot of other people like it. And guess what? It's interesting stuff, all right? So get over yourself, all right? 3.5-hour show. Relax. Anyway. If you're one of those people, you'll like our next guest because he won in the main event this past Friday. I'm giving you everything. Everything you ever wanted and more, I'm giving you, okay? So chill out. He won the main event on Friday against Chris Weidman in Boston. He is, in my opinion, the number one contender right now at 205. He could very well be next for Johnny Bones Jones. He's Dominic Reyes, kind enough to join us. Dominic, congratulations, my man. How are you?
Great, Ariel. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. So what are you laughing about? What's so funny over there? My little rant?
Man, that was great.
I get so annoyed with these people. Always right. Blah, blah, blah. Look, Dominic Reyes just won the main event. You're on the show. What more do you want? Who else do you want? You're driving me nuts. Anyway, great performance. Yeah, you can't please everyone. Can't please everyone. What'd you think? First main event, big time stuff against a former champion. What was it like going into the fight? Like you seem very calm. Like you're a very happy-go-lucky guy. You're always smiling. Were you a little more nervous for this one?
No, actually, I was the most calm I've ever felt for a fight. I was in my zone early in the day, and man, when I'm in my zone, nothing could touch me.
Now, why do you think that was? Were you just like overly prepared? Did you feel like this was a really great matchup for you? Sometimes when the stakes get raised, you get a little more nervous.
Yeah, I was very prepared. I knew I had answers for everything he was going to try to do. And I had my family and my close friends there, and I let it all go, I said, whatever God has in plan for me, that's going to be the plan. So just go out there and fight like I know I could fight, put on the performance I know I could put on, and all my dreams will come true.
Did you think it would end that quickly?
I knew it could end that quickly, but I wasn't expecting it to end that quickly.
The step back left, like you're going backwards and you hit him with the left that ended up dropping him, and then the hammer fist. Is that something that you work on? Very impressive. The parry, the left, everything was just so impressive that led to the dropping of Chris and then the hammer fist. But is that something in particular that you worked on?
it wasn't a particular thing I was working on for Chris. I mean, I'm always working on my boxing. I knew if my hands were sharper than his, I would finish him, and I know they already are naturally. But well, I guess you could say I knew it was going to happen because he lunges in. We were looking at film, and he lunges in pretty often with that too. And I have a really good pull to and fade to, and he fell right into it, and right on the money, baby.
Do you subscribe to the theory that like his chin has gone away, that he's more susceptible to getting dropped? You feel like this is now a problem, that he should, the talk afterwards is that he should get a little more serious about retiring and start thinking about it. How do you feel about this talk?
I don't know if his chin's going or not, because I hit him with a laser shot, man. I hit him really hard.
Yeah.
It was right on the button. So I mean, it's hard to say whether his chin's going or not. But personally, I plan on retiring around 35, 36 years old. I feel that's when your body starts to like betray you, and you're not as athletic as you used to be. You can still see things the way you saw them once, but you can't move the same way. And I just think it's a matter of age at this point for him.
So you got like 6-7 years left, still a lot of time, a lot of work to be done. You've only been in the UFC for a little over 2 years. When you debuted in June of 2017, if I would have told you, all right, 2 years later, you're in talks to maybe fight John, you're in that orbit, you're undefeated, so like, would you have believed me, or is this happening sooner than you expected?
I don't know. I would have said, who'd I fight and how'd I win the fight? I think that's what it comes down to, and I've done what I need to do at this point to get that fight. But I don't know. My whole career has been a really fast rise. The reason I didn't have a main event up to this point is because I'm moving on to the next level before organizations could lock me down and get me in the main event. I'm finishing guys early, and the higher ups are noticing. That's why I got in the UFC when I did. So I know I'm just a fast riser, man. I'm a quick learner, and I'm a dangerous guy that's getting better every day.
Now, what happened? I was talking about you being calm. You talked about you being calm. I got this tweet from someone who said that you were leading a duck tour before the fight. You were driving the boat. What is this all about? Is this from this particular fight week? Here we are. I think that's the guy who tweeted me, the guy with the beard, and you're in the driver's seat. What is this?
Yeah, man. I was driving around the duck tour. That was actually post-fight.
Oh, really?
Because it's the official championship parade of like the Patriots and like championship teams in Boston. So that was my championship parade. I actually signed my name on the boat right next to Tom Brady, which was really cool.
Wow.
Drove the boat. It's a amphibious vehicle, so it could drive on land, and then it also goes in the water. It's really cool. World War II vessel. Yeah, and I drove it around the Charles for about 30 minutes.
Did you just ask the guy, could you drive it?
No, he asked me if I wanted to drive, and then he was surprised that I was as good as I was at driving it. He said usually people zigzag because like the response on the steering wheel is delayed. So like you move it, and then like maybe 15 seconds later it would start moving. So people would overcorrect a lot. He's like, dude, you're really good. Like, how do you know how to drive this? I'm like, I'm just dialed in, baby.
Have you ever driven something like that before?
No, I've driven boats and stuff like that, but never a crazy vessel like that.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good way to celebrate. So you said afterwards, like, all right, I don't want any party favors, John. I just want to fight. What did you mean, by the way, by party favors?
Party favors, man. John has a bad habit of letting his habits get the best of him, and I don't want any part of that, man. I just want the belt. Let's party, do it in the octagon, but just bring the belt. Don't bring anything else. Don't bring any of your special stuff or your special sauce, as they would say. Just bring your belt, man. That's all I want.
He tweeted afterwards, many have talk expletive, all have fallen, you will do the same. So it seems like he heard your message, but never really, to the best of my knowledge, actually addressed you. Was that accurate? Did I miss something? I didn't see him actually address you or the fight in particular.
After that tweet, somebody who said, something, and he said, well, that was intended for my boy Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
And then that's when I responded, let's run it, bro. Let's run it and see who falls. You want to talk all that? You want the smoke, bro? Let's run it.
But now he's talking about heavyweight, maybe waiting for DC and Stipe.
I don't know, man. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's trying to get a big fight. I mean, he clearly doesn't want to fight me. He's getting his management to make excuses for him, asking his management to make it go away. Like, hey, man, tell him why I can't fight him. How about you tell me why, bro? How about you step up? What's up?
What do you mean by that? His management? They've reached out to you guys?
No, they tweeted like, "Oh, Dominic Reyes needs one more fight." Like, why do I care about what you think, dude? Like, the hell?
Who's this? Abraham Kawa?
Yeah, one of those guys.
Yeah. Like, who are you to talk about my career, right? That's what you're thinking?
Yeah. Oh, like, okay. So that's a clear indication that John doesn't want to fight me, and he doesn't want to openly say he doesn't want to fight me. So he's going to ask his management to, basically save him in this situation.
You feel like you're ready for John now?
I do. I've worked my whole life to fight John in my fighting career.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, I started training to fight John. I'm getting better and better and better. And I'm ready. I'm ready to step in there with this man.
So it seems
like a man. Just a man. He's just a regular man. Like, he wasn't even athletic enough to play on his high school football team. Like, come on.
You're not impressed?
Nah.
What do you think of his last performance against Thiago?
I thought he did enough to win. I thought Thiago won, but I felt like he did enough to win. He's John Jones. He won the fight. Good for him. But it just set it up for me to reach my destiny, I feel my destiny is to fight this man and to take him out.
Do you subscribe to the theory that he has trouble with guys who have a long reach? Guys like Gustafsson, Thiago Santos, little long OSP, yourself. Like, do you feel like that's a thing?
I do. I do feel he has trouble with guys with more reach. Just like you said, he had trouble with OSP, and I destroyed that guy. He had trouble with Gus. He came back better the second time, but he still had some trouble with his length, man. I'm like these guys rolled into one, dude. Like, I can wrestle. I'm long. I'm athletic. I'm fast. I have heart. Like, he's never fought a tall Mexican, dude. I'm a tall Mexican. He's never fought a Mexican. Let's get it.
So there's a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. Johnny Walker and Corey Anderson. Walker has some buzz. What do you say to the people who say if Walker wins, he should get the title shot, or if Anderson wins, he should get the title shot? Or on top of that, the winner of that fight should fight you for the #1 contender spot. What do you say to those people?
Say stop reaching. I'm 12-0. I'm undefeated. What more of a storyline do you need? I'm 6-0 in the UFC. This isn't a game. This isn't, well, let's see if he loses. Like, nah, it's my turn. I'm up. Let's go.
Do you think the UFC is on board with this?
I don't know if they're on board, but they're about to be on board.
How so?
I need to have a talk with you.
Okay. What did they say to you after the fight? Did you get any feedback from the brass?
I had a little bit of feedback. They told me great job, great fight. Part of me feels like Weidman's their boy. They wanted him to win so they could try to sell Weidman versus Jones. If Weidman would have beat me, oh my God, Weidman's the man. It's time for him to take out Jones. All this whole narrative they're trying to create with that. Like, how about an undefeated prospect who hasn't lost in the UFC or outside the UFC ever, who doesn't know what losing is, who refuses to lose, comes up and fights this man?
So I got
all the other contenders have lost.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, all the other contenders have lost. And Anderson lost to a guy that I knocked out. Like, and he's over here talking all this like he should be ahead of me. Like, dude, you got knocked out by this guy, and I trashed that guy.
I got a little heat for this last week when I said that if Weidman won, he'd be in the driver's seat. I wasn't necessarily saying that this is what should happen. I knew behind the scenes that they were saying Weidman wins. They were going to try to turn around and do him versus Jones beginning of the year because of everything that you said. So I wasn't trying to take anything away from you. I would say right now, and I said it in the post fight, you should be the number one contender in my opinion. Your streak is impressive enough.
Man. I know the game. You know, they wanted to sell tickets. You know, they wanted Weidman to be, you know, the hero, the, you know, taking out the legend killer. That's what they wanted, but it didn't happen that way, and they were shocked. You know, I didn't really get a lot of feedback after the fight because I took out their boy. Like, Weidman was their boy. Like, they love Chris Weidman. You know, who doesn't like Chris Weidman? But it's my time, and they should have projected that. They should have seen my career path and what's going on and what I'm doing to people. Like, they didn't wake up and look at what's going on. I'm next, man. And I don't care what Jones's management has to say. And get out of here with that, dude. You know, Jones, bro, you gonna fight me? What do you want to do? You gonna go up to heavyweight? And if you're gonna go up to heavyweight, like, there's always an interim fight, you know. Then people could see, you know, me fight the winner of so and so and so and so, like, whatever. But I'm coming for gold, man. That's all I want.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're like almost a little annoyed. You
I am. So,
why?
because I get no respect. Like, I have a tough fight with Woken, and all of a sudden I'm not one of the best light heavyweights in the world. I'm number 4 in the world. I just knocked out Chris Weidman in 1 minute and 43 seconds. If you had a pager, 143, what does that mean?
Love.
It means I love.
I remember that. What does that have to do with anything, though?
Game,
oh,
man.
okay.
I love this game.
All right.
That's all I'm saying, man. I love this game, and it's my whole life. I have no kids. I have no wife. This is everything. I'm married to the game. I'm literally married to the game, and it's my turn. My turn. I got too much fire in my heart. I got too many skills. It's time to test the champ.
I love it. I love it. I think you should get that opportunity. Do you feel like in your heart, do you feel like at the end of the day, John will take the fight?
I think he will. John's a competitor. You know, he wants to be the best in the world, and he is right now, for now. But I'm challenging you right now, John. You're not the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. Let's do this shit.
You think you're better than John Jones right now?
Yeah. I wouldn't be on here talking about John Jones if I didn't think I was better than John Jones and I could beat John Jones.
Mm-hmm. And so at this point, if they come to you with something else, what will you say? Oh, we want you to fight this guy. Or, you know, there's Jan Blachowicz who's fighting Jacare. Oh, who knows? You know, like, is it John or bust at this point? Are you going to stick to your guns on this one?
Yes, I'm sticking to my guns on this one. I'm tired of laying out these random bodies. I want the champ's head on my mantle.
Oh my! So what is the message to him? Because you know he's going to dismiss this. Because a lot of people have been calling him out.
Step up, step down. As the great Tony Ferguson once said, defend or vacate.
All right. We will leave it at that, I guess. I don't think there's anything else to say, right?
Nothing else to say,
I like this
man.
Dominic
What
Reyes.
else? I've proved it with my hands. I've proved it with my skills. What else can I say? I'm the best. Let's run it. Let's prove who's the best. I've never lost. I've never lost. I don't care what anybody said. I've never lost. I'm undefeated. Let's go.
I'll give some stats about what you've done as of late. Like I said, 12-0 as a pro, 6-0 in the UFC. All 9 of your stoppage wins have come in the first round, 7 by KO or TKO, excuse me. Longest active win streak in the UFC light heavyweight division. Your plus 2.79 significant strike differential is the highest among active light heavyweights. One of 2 fighters to start their UFC career at light heavyweight, 6-0. Lyoto Machida started at 8-0. And like I said, or like you just said, you came into that fight ranked number 4. We'll see where you end up. And you are, you know, one of the few undefeated prospects left, or I don't even think you're a prospect anymore, contender, I should say, fighting at light heavyweight. So there you go. There's the longest UFC win streaks in modern light heavyweight history. Dominic Reyes. I got to say, I like this fired up Dominic Reyes. I like this guy. This is nice. Bit of a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, man. The fire is burning brighter than ever. Oh, man.
And I heard they want John to come back early. Like they were talking maybe January, February. Would this be okay with you? Would you be comfortable coming back that soon?
Perfect, man. Look, I just fought.
You're ready.
What's up?
Okay. Could I just ask, because you're tickling my fancy here, how would you beat John Jones? What's the path? Do you see it?
I see the path. I'm gonna knock him out.
Oh my. You know he's never been stopped before. He's never really been beaten.
Neither have I.
That's a good point. So you say right here and now, October 21st, 2019, you will knock out John Jones if you fight him.
Absolutely. I will knock out John Jones. When we fight, when he stops hiding behind his management, I will knock him out.
All right. We shall see. Thank you, Dominic. I appreciate this very much, and I hope for your sake that you get the fight.
As do I.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck and congrats.
Peace. Thank you.
Dominic Reyes, fired up. You heard it here first. When he fights John Jones, he's knocking him out. There's options. Dominic, Anderson Walker winner, Jan versus Jacare. There's heavy. I feel like that's the fight to make now. I really do. And I know that, Walker could fight an MSG and everyone goes crazy, but I don't know. I feel like he could sell it right now. He's ready. He's undefeated. I feel like that's the one to make. We'll see. Okay, one more guest to go on today's program. She had a big win on Friday as well in Boston. She's one of our favorites on this program, but I have to say, I got a bit of a bone to pick with our next guest. She is Meatball Molly McCann, who is kind enough to join us. She's in the car right now. Kind enough to join us. What are we eating there, Molly?
Just a milkshake, Ariel.
Oh, is that a celebratory milkshake?
Yep.
What do we got in there?
Reese's,
Oh, my.
Oreo, peanut butter,
Where's it from?
Archie's.
Archie's? What is that? Is that a famous place in Liverpool?
Yeah, the Archie's Foundation, apparently.
Oh,
Just makes good milkshakes, mate.
yeah. Is that a thing that you crave after a fight?
Yeah, pizza and milkshake and chicken wings.
Oh, yes. Just like Ronda Rousey used to do.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth, aren't we?
That's right. I have to say, peanut butter, very underrated. My favorite ingredient in a milkshake or a smoothie. So I feel like we are cut from the same cloth. Is that your go-to as well?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Even on toast or bagels.
Yeah, it's the best. But I also have to say, Molly, that I'm a little disappointed. I have a bit of a bone to pick. A couple of reasons. First off,
Oh, here we go.
yeah, after the fight, there I am giving you props as a fellow Blue, as a fellow Evertonian, and then I just get I get ganged up. Patty Pimlin's coming after me. Everyone's coming after me, and you're nowhere to be found. In fact, I even had to tag you in. I actually literally tagged you in the string of tweets. I'm getting attacked. Here's Patty coming after me, and you're nowhere to be found. Where were you? I'd like to know. What were you doing? What was so important that you were doing on Friday night that you couldn't come to my defense?
Where was I? I was with Dominick Reyes and Gillian Robertson getting drunk in the hotel.
Oh, my.
Manny Bermudez.
That's what you were doing?
Yep.
So with one winner and one loser.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You saw this at some point, right? I'm assuming a couple days later you saw the string of tweets or no?
Not really. I haven't really been through social media too much.
Oh.
I've just uploaded on Instagram.
Any particular reason?
Anywhere.
Any particular reason why?
I just can't be bothered. I just couldn't be bothered to go on Twitter.
Oh.
So I've never had that much traffic before. There was just so much. I couldn't get through it all.
Okay. This is one of the byproducts of becoming a famous UFC star. All right, fine. So I'll give you a pass on that one, Molly. Although I have to say, here I am trying to support the cause, the Blues. I'm getting attacked by the Reds, and I thought you'd come at some point to my defense. Also, you told me you were going to come in studio after the win, and you're nowhere to be found.
I can't help it. What's it called? I was going to come and train, but then I thought, I'll just come home because I've got a dog now.
Oh.
So I've come home to the dog.
What kind of dog?
French bulldog.
Oh, how's that going?
Really good, thanks.
Is her name Matilda?
As what?
Is her name Matilda? The dog.
No, Frank.
Oh, Frank. Okay, so it's a.
Who's Matilda? Who's Matilda?
Matilda was the name of you know the tag team, the British Bulldogs.
No, he's a French bulldog.
I know, but there was a tag team from England called the British Bulldogs, Davy Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid, and they had a bulldog named Matilda.
No, I don't know what you're going on about. Let's just stick to MMA.
All right, fair enough. You seemed, I have to say, congratulations on the win, but you seemed upset with your performance. I saw the quote that you gave out afterwards to the UFC PR. You seemed very down. Why were you so down?
I was sick in the changing room before I come out.
Oh.
And then the second the fight finished, I was sick again whilst doing interviews. So in the fight, I couldn't get my second wind. I felt like I'd gassed out. I felt like I was going to be sick in the cage. And if you're sick in the cage, you get disqualified. So I had to pull back a little bit.
Oh,
and
wow.
I felt like I had so much more to give, Ariel, and I didn't get a chance to give it.
Now, were these nerves or like, did you have food poisoning? What was going on?
No, I didn't cut any weight. I just dieted down and like dried out the night before the weigh-in. I ate right, but it was just food. I didn't really feel nervous for the fight.
Okay.
I was excited. I was ready. All the training was amazing. I was really disappointed. I've watched it back and I'm happy with my progression in the UFC and how my fighting style's evolving. But I was very upset that I didn't manage to get the finish and I couldn't recover quick enough.
On the flip side, you could say because you were sick, the fact that you won and looked that dominant is a good thing, that you were able to overcome that, right? The adversity, this is a silver lining, if you will.
Yeah, I've said that on my UFC debut, I wasn't good enough to win on my worst day. And now on my worst day, I'm good enough to win. So I'm improving. And I don't want to put too much light on the fact that I felt sick. To take away from Diane's performance and to take away too much from my own, but it was hard to not be sick whilst fighting.
Okay, wow. So you said that was your worst, even though you got the win, you got 3 in a row now, you're feeling comfortable. Do you feel like now it's time to take a bit of a step, or do you like the progression? Like, do you want to be moved a little quicker, or do you like the speed at which you're getting pushed here?
The UFC can do whatever they're going to do, and I'm just going to say yes, but I would really like a top 10 opponents next. I think I deserve one, and I wouldn't mind UFC London against the top 10 opponents next year.
Who are we thinking? Anyone in particular?
Well, I've been having a little think today, to be honest, and I see that Maycee Barber hasn't stopped going on about Paige Van Zandt.
Oh.
I wouldn't mind Paige. I wouldn't mind Maycee. I wouldn't mind Antonia Shevchenko.
Okay.
I think they're three good opponents, which I wouldn't mind a crack at the whip at.
So you were on the same card as Maycee. You got a good look at her. You like that matchup for yourself?
On who, sorry?
Maycee Barber.
I think me and Maycee would have an absolute war. I think we hit very our striking style is very similar. I think my footwork's a little bit different to hers. I thought before fight week, when I've seen her in interviews and things, I thought she was always quite arrogant and sure of herself. But then on fight week, I realised she's just someone chasing a dream, and she just believes in herself that much. And I don't know. I wouldn't mind a crack at that. I don't know, because I'm not ranked yet, and she's ranked, so I don't know how that would go. But that's always one I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind a crack at Antonia Shevchenko, because obviously she's a Shevchenko and she's ranked, I think, 8th or 10th.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like that's a great matchup as well. I think all three are great, but I like where you're thinking, about the Shevchenko thing. She's the sister. We were talking about this with Maycee, like go after the sister and then you get the attention of the champ, right?
Yeah, I don't know why all Twitter keeps saying is me versus Maycee, or why is Maycee trying to fight Paige Van Zandt when Paige hasn't. She's saying that she's going to beat her so easily. Why would you want to fight someone if it's not leveling you or pushing you to be a better fighter? It's just, if it's a walk in the park, why would she fight Paige?
Interesting. I mean, I think that she wants to kind of. I think that's part of the way that she's selling it, but that is a good point. It's a fair point. I think it's a fight that people would like as well. Does it bother you still haven't gotten a stoppage win in the UFC? Is this something that's weighing on you?
Can you say that one more time?
Does it bother you that you haven't gotten a stoppage win yet in the UFC?
Yeah, it really bothers me. I believed that the fight should have been stopped in the second round on Friday. I took Diane down in the second, and I think it was something like 14 or 15 unanswered shots. And the ref still didn't stop the fight. There wasn't much more I could do, to be honest, when we was on the floor. Yeah, so you're not going to believe this, Ariel. There's literally some man by the car.
What?
He's nearly just pulled his pants down by the car.
There's a man standing by your car?
Yeah.
What's
he's
he
gone
want?
now. He's gone. I don't know. He was being a bit strange then.
Oh my gosh. Do you need me to intimidate him?
No, I've got my sidekick.
Who's that? Is that Leah McCourt?
No, this is my girlfriend, Paige.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, Paige.
Hi. We've just been on date night, and we went and had milkshake, a Chinese, and played video games.
Oh, what a date. Wow. I
know.
Which video game?
Rambo, Tekken 2, Crazy Taxi. What else did we play? A racing game. Car racing.
Was she at your fight as well?
No, she had to babysit the dog.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Is it hard for her to watch you fight?
Is it hard?
Do you know what? The past few I've been, but I weren't as nervous for this one.
Why not?
Because I feel like I don't know, I witnessed the preparation, and the preparation's always so good, and this camp had just gone so smooth.
Okay, that would make you confident. Yeah, look at that. By the way, speaking of that preparation, working with Owen Roddy, right?
Yeah, I've been going over with Liam McCourt, training with Owen little bits, with Ryan Curtis, Jay Harris, Scott. I even got to spar with Artem for this fight camp.
With the GOAT?
With the GOAT, me and Artem threw down, yeah.
Come on.
No, I swear to God.
How did that go?
He nearly knocked me out. I'm just joking. No, he's great. I love Artem. Artem loves me. Just good mutual respect there. And it's nice to mix it up with different training partners who don't go try and kill you and injure you.
Wow, they could charge top dollar for that. Meatball versus the GOAT in a sparring match.
Yeah, I'm telling you. In 4 ounces as well.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm just joking.
Wow, geez. But this is something you'll continue to do? Go train with those guys?
Yeah, Leah's going to come over next week, and then I'll go back over. I think she'll be fighting February or March on Bellator. And hopefully if UFC London is March, I'll be on that card. Hopefully. So, yeah, we'll just keep helping each other out.
And speaking of Leah, because I know that's why I thought that's who you were referring to. I apologize, but I know she was by your side. Mainstream McCourt, as my friend Pete Carroll likes to call her. You were with her all week in Boston. She got footage of you as you were going to the weigh-ins for the official weigh-ins. You moonwalked on the way to the stage. This was great.
Yeah.
You were feeling that good. Look at you there. Look at those moves.
I can't look at me moonwalk. Someone weighed in before me and danced on the stage, and I went, "I've got to beat you now." So I done a moonwalk in. It was just, I didn't have to cut any weight, Ariel. I literally only had to dry out the night before, so no sweat saunas and sweat baths, salt baths and all that. So I was in good spirits, to be honest.
And how did Boston treat you? I saw you went to a Celtics game. You got the gear and everything. Did you enjoy your time?
Yeah, it was amazing. I got to see Taco, all 7'6" of him.
Wow. Taco Fall, you're familiar with him?
Yeah, I watched him. He scored about 7 baskets. He came on and was just going, dude. I seen the Pistons play when I was at UFC 218 in Detroit with Amanda Bobby Cooper. And that was okay, but this game, the Celtics, it was amazing. The atmosphere was unreal. And it set the precedent for when I competed there on Friday.
Yeah. Are you enjoying fighting in the States as opposed to back in Europe?
I mean, the tax kills you.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to fight in America. It's just different. If I'm not fighting in Liverpool, I'd rather fight in America.
Okay. Wow. It would be nice to see them go back to Liverpool one of these days, perhaps if Darren Till gets a win at UFC 244. By the way, I read something about you recently that I didn't know. Your mother overcame years of substance abuse, and now she's helping out people who battle with this as well. She's a great inspiration. Well done to your mother.
Thank you. She's 24 years clean and serene.
Wow.
So, she's been around the block, and she's the director of a charity that does residential rehabilitation, and she's probably saved more lives than I could ever count. So, I've never really told that story, Ariel, because I've not wanted to come across like a bit of an X Factor story, and use that as a sob story to get people to listen to me or to pay me more attention. But I don't know, it got leaked out and now it's out there, so I spoke about it. But I'm very proud of my mum. She's an amazing human being.
Does she watch your fights?
Yeah, she watches them all, but she doesn't come to America. She doesn't like to travel, so
okay.
She watches it, and I'll FaceTime her the second to get out of the cage, and she's at everyone in England anyway.
Okay. By the way, I think it's great that you were hanging out with Jillian Robertson because she gave you, your first UFC loss. So you guys are cool.
Yeah, like after she put me to sleep, I basically went over to her in the changing rooms and said, "If you want to come out for a drink, we're all going out for a drink. I'd love to show you the city." Jillian changed my life forever, and she's made me a better martial artist, a better human, and she humbled me big time. So to be on the same card as her when she lost, when she came back to the hotel, I just said, "Come on, Gail, come for a drink." So we spent about 5 hours getting drunk together, to be honest, and she's like my new best friend.
Wow, that's amazing. Maybe you guys will train together in the future.
Well, that's what I said. I said, "Can I come over and train?" I was drunk and I was like, "Jillian, let's roll now." And my coach Ellis was like, "No," because we was like heavily intoxicated by this time. But yeah, look at the difference 16 months can make.
Yep. And it's been amazing watching you go through that journey. You're always very accessible, Molly. You're always very gracious with your time. In fact, Corporate Jake, who's been getting a lot of heat on this program over the past couple of weeks because he's been cutting off the guests very short, specifically demanded, he's the producer of this program, demanded that you'd be on this week.
Oh, really?
So yes, he said we have to have Molly, although they were disappointed when they found out you weren't coming in studio because we had talked about this and then you kind of left me hanging, sort of like the tweets about Liverpool and Everton.
Pack it in, Ariel. If it was in New York, some of my lads are flying back from New York on Tuesday, so I would have come back, or in Jersey, I would have come back with them, and I would have come on the show. But where are you now, Cincinnati or?
Cincinnati, geez, no, close.
Where are you?
Connecticut.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I know.
Or much of this, I don't even know.
I know. I said the same thing when they made me move here, but unfortunately, here I am. We could clip this off and tell people this is how the guests react when I have to tell them, they have to come to. It was a lot cooler when we were in New York, unfortunately.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, come and get pizza, see the Big Apple. No, not anymore. Can
All
come
right.
to Connecticut.
No.
What's in Connecticut?
Not much, to be honest. My show, well, ESPN headquarters. No, it's a great place. I don't want to get in trouble, Molly. I'm trying not to get fired here, but I hope you enjoy your milkshake with your significant other. You enjoy the fruits of your labor and the spoils of victory. And I'm looking forward to the next one next year in England. Let's do it. You versus Antonina, Maycee, Paige. I'll take any of those.
I really want the Shevchenko sister. So if you can make it happen,
Okay.
I just think it's a step up for me, and I don't know, I really get to prove my worth, and that's all I want to do, Ariel. I just want to prove that I'm getting better every fight, and I'm on my way for a title.
I love it. And good job not using an inhaler in between rounds. Weird. Awkward.
Or the sick bucket, I know.
Go Blues. Thank you, Molly.
I know. Up the Ev. See you later,
That's
Ariel.
right. Take care. Bye, Paige.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Molly McCann. Nice win for her. She was a little hard on herself, but there you go. 3 in a row in the UFC. What stats do we have on her? Courtesy of the great Andrew Davis, who, by the way, was disappointed that last week when I was saying all the people that I was thankful for, we excluded him by mistake. Wasn't done on purpose, but I just wanted to give him a shout out of the Stats and Info group at ESPN. He does a phenomenal job, a huge asset to the show each and every week with these factoids like this one. Molly did, a career high 113 significant strikes and a career high 5 takedowns in her win this past Friday. And she's also the 3rd female fighter to land 100+ significant strikes in 3 consecutive UFC fights. The other 2, Angela Hill and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. So there you have it. Nice win for Molly McCann on Friday. Okay, at the top of the show, I asked you all, who should Jon Jones fight next? Should it be Dominick Reyes, who is very fired up? If you missed that, go check it out afterwards. Usually he's calm, he's laid back, he's kind of, just happy to be there. Very fired up earlier today on the program. So Dominick Reyes I threw out Corey Anderson / Johnny Walker winner. That's happening at UFC 244 in just a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, MSG. I threw out the winner of DC's Stipe 3. No timetable yet on that fight. You saw when they did the split screen on Friday, DC was like, one more, and Stipe wanted none of it. Totally no-sold it. So really nothing to discuss. He's still recovering from the eye surgery. And I threw out Francis Ngannou. I mentioned last week in my thoughts column, which is now on Wednesdays, by the way, not on Mondays, every Wednesday, that Francis is very frustrated that they're not giving him a fight. He wanted the winner of DC Stipe. DC lost, so now they're going to run it back, and they're telling him that they want him to wait. And he's saying, I'll just fight anyone, and I want to fight in December, and they're not giving him anyone, and they're not really open to him fighting someone who's lower ranked. So he's a little frustrated, and I think the Jon Jones fight, sort of like how Anderson went up to 205 and fought Forrest Griffin, thought that would be a fun fight. So those were the 4 options. What do the people have to say, Mr. Corporate Jake?
With just over 17,000 votes, we have Dominic Reyes in the lead with 38%. Then the winner of Stipe Cormier 3 at 26%. Right behind that, Francis Ngannou at 22%. And in last place with 13% is the winner of Johnny Walker, Corey Anderson.
Wow. And so worth noting, on Twitter, you can only put 4 options. If there was a 5th, I'd probably put other, because I'm curious if people, you could go in a bunch of different ways. But I'm actually shocked that Walker Anderson winner is in last place, because the thing, or maybe the Jan Jacare winner, because I saw a lot of people on Friday saying to me, "Oh, what about the Walker Anderson winner?" Or what about the Jan Jacare winner? And here we are with our poll, and they're in last place. So how about that? So we'll see what happens. I think it should be Dominic Reyes. He certainly got me a whole lot more excited after his interview on the show today. But thus far, it is not done. I think they're probably going to wait to see what happens at 244, and they don't have to decide right now, but I would certainly put him in the driver's seat. Now, let's talk quickly about this situation with Greg Hardy. So in case you missed it, in between the second and third round, he asks the inspector, the commission inspector, if he can use his inhaler. He has asthma. This has been documented in the past. You can look it up. There's some articles from back in the day where they talk about his asthma. He asks the inspector, could he use it? The inspector seems to reply. He's never on camera, but he seems to reply, based off what I heard, is it medical? Greg says yes. And then he says it's USADA approved. At no point do I hear the inspector saying, yes, go ahead, but it doesn't seem like he stops him from doing it. Corner gives it to him, does the pump, and we're on our way. Moments later, Daniel Cormier, Dominic Cruz on the broadcast, and they bring in Mark Ratner, VP of Regulatory Affairs. They all say it's illegal. And then like 2 hours later, the fight that Greg Hardy won via decision gets overturned into a no contest. And so initially when you hear all this, you're like, all right, it's obviously illegal. I've never seen anyone do it. I saw King Mo in Strikeforce one time pump something, but it wasn't an inhaler. It was something else. But we've never seen this in a UFC fight. Haven't seen an actual like asthma inhaler be used. And I also haven't seen a fight get overturned that night without an appeal. But we're told from Mark Ratner, we're told from the broadcast that this was illegal. They huddle up and they decide to overturn it. And apparently Greg Hardy is very upset afterwards. And, you know, at the press conference, look, Greg Hardy is not a sympathetic figure. We all know this. He's polarizing, puts it mildly. A lot of people don't want him fighting in the UFC. A lot of people don't want him fighting in MMA. He will never be able to shed his past, ever. He will never. It's going to follow him forever. And that's just the truth. That's just facts. And so people aren't going to defend him. And you know what? That's his bed. He's got to live with that. He did what he did, and you know he has his past and everything that he's done. I mean, it's always going to follow him. But if we're able to separate the past from the present, the truth is, in the Massachusetts law, there nowhere does it state that he can't use this. And so if his opponent would have appealed and they decided that he didn't bring it up, he didn't tell anyone, like what his team is saying, like, look, oh, he told the inspector and that's the commission, they didn't stop him. I don't know if I agree with that. A, I don't hear the person say yes. And B, that's not an official way. And just because you're using something at a competition or even in competition doesn't mean you're using it like in between rounds. That's a big difference in my opinion. And you can't do it in Nevada. That's clear. And maybe that's why Mark Ratner, who's a former, head of the Nevada Commission, said that it was illegal. Every state is different. To me, what this really, like, I can't sit here and say this side was right, this side was wrong, this side, like, it's all very gray. My biggest takeaway from all of this, honestly, is that A, it's another example as to why there needs to be a national commission. Why, if everyone was just under the same umbrella, going by the same rules, the same jurisdiction, I feel like this stuff wouldn't happen. And also B, like, it's just another example of how a lot of these commissions, especially these commissions that don't get a lot of big time combat sports, are sort of flying by the seat of their pants. They're kind of making it up as they go along. And maybe that's an indication of how young this sport is, but I think the same would be for a boxing or kickboxing match. It's just kind of crazy that we're being told it's illegal. It's not in the rules. Then they overturn it without an appeal. And then we're saying, like, it's USADA approved, but to the best of our knowledge, USADA hasn't come out and said that it's approved. Like, the whole thing was just a expletive show, to be honest. And I was surprised that they overturned it that quickly without, like, maybe confiscate it. Because then there was, Jeff Nowitzki telling Kevin Aioli that, if it has X amount of this and that, well, how do they know? How do they know what's in it? Honestly, like, this may be a dumb question, but, like, how do you actually know what was in that? And how do you know the levels that were in it? How do you know the amount that was in it? I don't know. Like, did you test it? So I don't know why they were so quick to overturn it. and also sets the precedent of overturning something, after the fact. Like we talked about the Charles Rosa thing. Once that fight is done, if no one's appealing, you're not overturning it. So why did they overturn this one? The whole thing very confusing. And to me, like my biggest takeaway walking away from that were those two things. Again, if we had a national commission, I feel like this would be, look, it wouldn't solve all our problems, but I feel like there'd be one set of rules and people would be able to abide by them. And B, like, no one really knows what's going on. Like we find out these things and the rules are kind of being written sort of like the new weigh-ins and all that stuff. It's just all being done on the fly. And so initially when you hear these people on the broadcast say it's illegal, you're like, okay, it's illegal. I mean, I've never seen this before. And it seems like it would be a performance enhancer, right? Yeah, you have asthma, but other people I'm sure have asthma and you don't see them do this. Like that's the very definition of performance enhancing. You're helping yourself perform. Most places you can't have anything other than water in the corner. As Dana White mentioned in the post-fight, you can't have Gatorade, you can't have body armor, you can't have anything. Coffee, all these things. So why would you be able to do that? But if there's nowhere that's like written that you can't have this in the Massachusetts, like what did they go by? And they haven't really said, they put out one statement. Where's this statement? This was sent to us. The Massachusetts State Athletic Commission, MSAC, was made aware of Greg Hardy's use of an inhaler just before the start of the third round of last night's fight. The inhaler was not pre-approved by the commission for use during the fight in accordance with the commission's regulations. Therefore, the commission overturned the win and declared the bout no contest. So they're saying it wasn't pre-approved. Hardy's team was saying they did tell them about it at the medicals on Friday. So I don't know I guess we have to find out in the questionnaire if it's written there, but they're both saying two different things. So it's a bit of a mess. As of right now, Greg Hardy hasn't appealed. He's deciding whether or not he's going to appeal. It's going to cost him some money, and so we'll see what happens. But that was just a bizarre thing, and quite frankly, took away from Dominic Reyes' win, I thought, in the other great performances, and so it was just very unfortunate. I don't really have like a definitive answer on this. I just kind of just wanted to talk about it a little more. I saw John McCarthy spoke to MMA Fighting about it and weighed in. He would be a great resource, and so I suggest you go read what he had to say about it. But it's going to be interesting to see if this stands and what the precedent is from here on out. By the way, speaking of John McCarthy, just very quickly, we had this thing. I was on the 30 for 30 Chuck and Tito doc, and there's a line in there where I talk about how I was asked what were the things that the new Zuffa regime did to try to get the UFC on track, to try to change the fortunes of the UFC. And one of the things I said was that they ran towards regulation. Nowhere in my comment did I say that they did this unlike the previous regime. Nowhere in my comment that aired did I talk about the previous regime, did I disparage the previous regime or anyone who was a part of the previous regime or anyone who was a part of the foundation of this sport who tried to help get this sport legalized, did a lot of work, all that stuff. And so I say this comment, and John McCarthy on Twitter comes at me and saying like, and quite frankly, I think makes a lot of assumptions and stretches things, and it's like coming after me on Twitter. You can see the tweets, and then I just reach out to him on text. I'm like, hey man, every time I see you, you say that you're my friend and that you're so proud of me and my career. You have a problem with something I say, why are you putting me on blast if we're quote unquote friends? Why don't you come text me and say, hey, I don't agree with what you said, but you're putting me on blast, and then you're talking about it on your show, and you're tagging me in all these tweets and on, and you're inviting all these people to come on. Look, you can disparage me all you want. You can put me down. I know that's a great thing. Anytime someone finds an opening saying that I was in journalism school when you ran, I don't dispute any of that. I don't know why we have to make it personal. I didn't dispute anything that you said as far as where you were and where I was when this stuff was going on. I was asked a question, and just because I didn't actually stand in the courtroom, I don't think disqualifies me from talking about it. There's people who talk about or are experts on Abraham Lincoln or the First World War who didn't live it. I don't think that's a fair statement to make. I'm not trying to say that I know more than you. All I'm trying to say is one of the things that they did when they took over was run towards regulation. That is a fact. They tried to get it regulated. I'm not trying to say that's unlike the previous regime. I'm not trying to say that the previous regime didn't do that. But that is a fact. And we could talk about Lorenzo. You should know because you were interviewed. They take things, 10-second snippets, and they put it all around. You should know that this is part of a larger conversation. So if you want to get the likes, you want to get the retweets, quite frankly, I expect more. And it doesn't change my opinion, but like, you know me, you have my phone, you text me a lot. to go out like that and to try to do this, to me, I thought was a little bit surprising, and all the other stuff, and to get all personal about I was doing this while you were in journalism school. I don't know. That's not the John McCarthy I know. And by the way, if we want to play that game, why don't I critique you when you're interviewing people? Because I went to journalism school. You're on the broadcast, right? I don't do that. That's not the kind of guy that I am. I don't talk that way. I have respect for the people who have built this sport. And I don't believe that just because I went to journalism school, I'm an expert at this. And I think that you should know, because you were on this documentary as well and interviewed, that there's 10-second snippets taken all over the place. And we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I was talking specifically about the Zuffa era, the new era, and what they did. And what I said was a fact. If I said unlike the previous regime, then I'll own up to it. But I didn't say that. All right? I did not say that. So can we just drop this already? Jeez Louise, tagged all week about this stuff. Never ending. Exhausting. I was like, at some point I was going to write, are you guys done talking about this? Like, the one time I respond to someone, it turns into a whole thing. And then, of course, it's all this stuff, and I just regret even responding. But, like, come on. Enough already. And then we go on all these shows. We talk all about this stuff, and the beef, and the this, and the argument, and the debate. It's exhausting. I love you all. Anyway, speaking of love, let's talk about love. Last Friday, I was in Brooklyn meeting up with my guy, Action Bronson. Action Bronson has been on this program a couple times. The first time we met, we talked about having matzo ball soup. We talked about talking about UFC 244. We talked about meeting up. Sometimes you talk about these things, and they don't actually come to fruition. Well, guess what? This time, it came to fruition. I went to Brooklyn on Friday. We talked 244. We walked around the hood. We even went to get matzo ball soup. It was great. And guess what? It's going to air next Monday on this program. Here's a snippet.
What I needed, then I left you in amazement. Light switch in my mind. The hell is it?
How are you?
This was great. We're calling it Matzo Ballin' with Action Bronson. I don't know if we're actually calling it that, but maybe this could be my new thing where I go and meet up with famous people and have matzo ball soup with them and talk about MMA. Because let me tell you, I have long believed that anytime there's matzo ball soup on a menu, I have to have it. Even if I'm not in the mood, I just have to have it. I just do. I just love matzo ball soup. So it was a great time. He was very gracious. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait for all of you to see it. And it's a great way to get us ready for UFC 244, which is happening not this weekend, next weekend. So that'll be on next Monday. Now, a lot of you have also been asking me, when is my interview with Nate Diaz going to air? Remember this? I went to Madison Square Garden. They opened the place up just for us. Thank you, Dillon and the team, Larry, the team over at MSG. It was just me and Nate at MSG a couple of weeks ago talking about 244. Well, that conversation is going to air on SportsCenter throughout the week. But the unedited version, like a shorter version, but the full unedited sit down, and we did a lot there. We walked around, we went to the locker room, we looked at the memorabilia. It was great. We spent like 3 hours there, but the full unedited sit down, which was around 40 minutes, will air on this show next Monday as well. It's going to be great. Here's a snippet of that. So that was actually done by Nate's personal videographer / photographer, Elijah Gutierrez. He did it behind the scenes, but that is going to air on next week's show as well. So stay tuned for that. I think you're going to like it very much. It's rare that you get to sit down with Nate at length, and I'm excited. Next week's show is going to be fun. I mentioned Conor McGregor at the top of the show. As you may have seen over the weekend, the New York Times on Saturday posted a story that a woman has accused McGregor of sexually assaulting her last week in a vehicle outside of a Dublin pub. McGregor has not commented on this. at all, but his publicist said in a statement to the New York Times, Conor McGregor is frequently the subject of rumors. He emphatically denies any report accusing him of sexual assault reached by ESPN. I'm reading this off the story that we posted on Saturday afternoon. McGregor's team referred to the statement given to the Times and declined to comment any further. The Irish police service, the Garda, said in a statement that the investigations are ongoing, but he hasn't been approached by the police, and he hasn't been arrested, and he hasn't been charged, and he hasn't been questioned at all. So that's where things stand right now as far as that story is concerned. He is going to Russia and the Ukraine this week. There's a story that he's going to be holding a press conference. He is doing this in conjunction with Parimatch and Proper 12 whiskey, his own brand of whiskey that just launched in Russia, and he will be doing some media events. No fight has been signed. No fight is done. He is hoping to return, if all goes well, in January. He was hoping for December. Now they're shooting for January. It appears as though the Frankie Edgar fight is pretty much DOA. And he's hoping to fight 3 times next year, I'm told, from a member of his team. He's hoping to fight in January, then fight the winner of Masvidal Diaz, and then fight the winner of Khabib Tony whenever that happens. But he's probably going to talk a lot more about this. There's no big announcement to make. He's going to meet with people in conjunction with this, this whiskey tour and the Parimatch, which I think is some gambling site in Russia. But nothing to really formally announce. I'm sure he'll talk about his future and the back and forth with Khabib and all that stuff and more. And so we'll see what happens. But they are very confident and very intent on returning next year and fighting 3 times. So we'll see what happens. But the Frankie Edgar fight was something that he wanted, Frankie wanted, the UFC didn't want it, and never really got past that. There were never really any negotiations or anything like that. Big weekend coming up in MMA. We've got one championship on Friday. We've got Bellator 231 here in Connecticut on Friday. That's Frank Mir versus Roy Nelson 2. We got the UFC Saturday morning on ESPN Plus, headlined by Damian Maia versus Ben Askren. That's a phenomenal main event. Very curious to see how Ben Askren responds. And then Saturday night, perhaps the people's main event, Rory McDonald against Douglas Lima 2 in the finale of the Bellator welterweight Grand Prix. Remember their first fight like a year and a half or so ago? That was incredible. Now you're getting the rematch in the finale for the Bellator welterweight title. And finally, before I go, it's a busy weekend, but I have something very exciting to announce as well. So, when I first joined ESPN, I said that, I want to come here. It's a dream come true of mine to be here, to work for this company. This is always where I wanted to be. And to cover MMA for this company is absolutely, positively a dream come true. To do this show that I started 10 years ago, a dream come true. And that's not going anywhere. But you also know that I love the National Basketball Association. I'm a huge NBA fan. I adore it. And over the past year or so, they have allowed me slowly but surely to do some NBA coverage. I got to do hoop streams with Cassidy and Kendrick last March in Oklahoma City. Got to do draft lottery show with the crew. That was a lot of fun. I got to do a draft night show. That was a ton of fun as well. I got to do Summer League sidelines. That was incredible. I got to do the Raptors Championship Parade show on ESPN News. That was incredible. Now we take it up a notch. And I'm very excited to share with all of you that this Friday in New Orleans, I will be a part of the broadcast team making my NBA regular season sideline debut, my friends. Yes, it's actually happening. My palms are very sweaty just talking about it. New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Dallas Mavericks this Friday. My guy, Kristaps Porzingis. Unfortunately, Zion is hurt, but this is the home opener for the Pelicans. It's going to be Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and me. That's the broadcast team. I kid you not. This Friday, your old pal on the sideline debut for an NBA regular season game. Mavericks, Pelicans on ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern. I kid you, if you would have told 12-year-old, 13-year-old me that this was actually a thing that was happening, he would not have believed you. Literally a dream come true for me. And I'm very, very excited and very thankful to everyone at not only the NBA team, but the MMA team for allowing me to do this. Doesn't conflict with anything. I'm not going anywhere, but this is just an amazing thing that has been afforded to me. And so I can't wait this Friday. Hope you watch if you're interested. And oh, by the way, I got another game too. Christmas Day, Celtics, Raptors. I will be on the sidelines for that too. Christmas Day, Celtics, Raptors on the sidelines. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, are you kidding me? The voice of the Knicks, the voice of the NBA, former coach of the Knicks, and me? This is insane. Insanity this Friday. And so I can't wait. I'm super excited. And thanks to everyone who's given me this opportunity. But I won't forget all of you. I'll be back on Monday. We'll do this whole song and dance all over again. We got Nate Diaz, we got action, and who knows what else we got going on. But for now, we shall say goodbye. It's been a fun day. Thank you very much to Maycee Barber for coming in, and her dad. Her dad is a great guy. Bucky Barber. What a legend this man is. The guy calls me 2 months ago and says, oh yeah, we're fighting in Boston and we want to come in studio. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but what if you guys lose? Oh, we're not losing. Don't worry. She writes it on her gloves. 8-0, undefeated. How do I get that kind of confidence? I'll tell you what, on Friday, when I go to New Orleans, I'm going to be thinking about Maycee Barber, 21-year-old Maycee Barber, and the confidence that she possesses as I walk onto that court. I mean, that's just a very impressive thing. So thank you very much to her and her dad for coming in studio. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much to Joe Lauzon. Congratulations to him. If this is the end, well done, my man, but respect for keeping the door open. Thank you very much to Niko Price. Congrats on the win. Thank you very much to Dillon Danis. Well done, my friend, on everything that you are doing. Thank you very much to Triple H and Tyson Fury. Good luck on October 31st. Thank you very much to Dominic Reyes. Great stuff from him. And thank you very much to Molly McCann. Congratulations, sir. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. I'm out of here.